We're good?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Jay Willie Show. This is our third year. We started during the pandemic.
Yep.
And we started with some surprise guests. We started with some great shows with having people come on that you didn't know they were going to be on, with some fun activities, with introducing your kids.
Yep. My sister on one.
Yep.
Shout out to Amy.
Amy.
She's listening somewhere.
Hey, Amy. And the following's we just got a very supportive following. TW has been an incredible leader for us. We brought on Dougie Fresh. Forrest is in the house. He's been awesome. Really shaky. He said no, but you have. And now we brought in superstar. Where is Lil Ski? Lil Ski doing his thing. Thank you, Lil Ski. Who is the son of Tom Linsky, who is a very famous goalie for UVA, winning 3 national championships while we was here, and ultimately responsible for several national championships.
Those guys set the tone. They set the tone. They were the big boys on ground.
You guys got some work to do.
We do.
You only have 1.
We got to catch up. We got to catch up.
How many you have, Ski? You're at 3, but the program. 7. You got work to do.
We got a long way to go.
This may be when you're at the helm.
I hope Tony coaches that long. I'm not sure I'm going to be at the helm.
Well, you guys have set the record for most wins in the program, and you have the ultimate record for most wins as a player and coach in UVA history.
It is coach, man. I'm leaning too much. I feel like I'm getting my lean on. All right, I'm good.
All right, once again, thanks to the Milkman's Bar setting us up here. Big thanks to Eleanor. Thank you, Eleanor. Awesome. Forrest, our set designer. Again, big thanks to Forrest. Let's get going to the show. Good week.
It was okay. Well, how far back?
We moved 1-1. We're going to talk Virginia Tech. We're going to talk NC State.
You know, I don't like. I hate losing to that team down the road.
I know, and it's in conference road lows, right? But I got to tell you, I'm watching the game the first half, and I'm going as an objective basketball fan. Yep. I was able to separate. Well, I wasn't really able to separate, but I was still able to figure out, like, watching the game emotionally as a UVA fan, and watching the game as a college basketball fan. Yep. And watching as a college basketball fan, the first half was sensational. It really was like a chess match.
Of the Tech game.
Of the Tech game. No,
It was so well played. Both teams were played so well. Both teams have such high IQ players. Both teams have really good players. They both played really well that first half. I know the question for making shots. It is many shots you want.
So, first of all, give Mike a ton of credit. Hell of a coach. They got some sets that are very difficult, and they presented problems for us over the years. And but I thought we did too much instead of just playing and flying around. And I did not like our defense at all. Now, they made shots, give them credit, the ball went in. But I thought just on the defensive side of the ball, we had our guys, and that's probably partly our fault. We were trying to overcomplicate the game. Would this guy do this? Would this guy do that? And we can't do that. So we had to simplify.
specifically.
So with Couture, who really can shoot it, we were going to guard certain situations one way, and with everybody else, we were going to guard it different. Well, that put some problems on the bigs. So now they're trying to figure out, all right, who's behind me? You can't do that. You just got to play, regardless of who it is.
You went fairly small through most of that game.
I think we ended small. And I thought our front court has got to be better defensively. Gardner scored the ball, but I thought defensively we weren't locked in. Conversely, the following game, we were really good defensively.
And we'll get to that in a minute.
Yep.
Defensively, you guys double-teamed right? On the perimeter a little bit, you double team their low post. That kind of created open shots for them.
Yeah, again, and we had some breakdowns. In the first half, I thought there was some communication breakdowns. The ball touched the paint. They scored how many points in the paint?
I don't remember.
Like
I don't
40
remember.
for the game? Like an obscene number of points.
Little Ski, can you get on that for us?
But defensively, communication breakdowns in our interior, and we've got to be better.
In the second half, I felt like you guys weren't moving the ball. You guys weren't really running the offense, and you guys tried to go one-on-one.
It was a little bit of that. I think we got a little frustrated at how we were playing, and I thought that guys, yes, tried to make plays. Instead of playing off two, we flew in there, threw up some shots that might as well have been some turnovers and led to some easy buckets. So we corrected that the next game. But it's a rivalry game. The guys, I mean, they wanted it. It wasn't like the effort wasn't there. They wanted it. So we didn't pull it out.
What are you guys saying? And I always want to ask this question. I always want to know, and we have fans that want to know, and cast wants to know. What are you guys saying at halftime of that game when you're down a few points? And that was the first game, I think, all season when you had been down 8 to 10 points, especially that late. Were you still thinking, okay, we can come back? And what were you saying at the TV timeouts?
Yeah, we just needed to adjust. I thought, again, adjust to some of their lead screen. They do lead screen DHOs, and we needed to adjust to that. But we made a few mistakes, and we kept saying, look, it's on the defensive end. Offense will be there. We got to defend better. They were making shots. They would get more. We were concerned about the three, but they lived in the paint. We couldn't guard one-on-one in the post. We couldn't keep them out of the paint, and that was the frustrating part.
So what's the message after that game?
Get back to Virginia defense. And the next few practices, we got back to what we stopped worrying so much about who we were playing. It was more about us. And we did some old school drills that were defensive minded. And we really cracked the whip defensively.
What were the drills? Was
did.
Was it tough box outs? Was it like
No, it was box outs, it was 4-on-4 shell, it was
got physical?
3-line closeout. It was all of those old school drills.
It get intense?
It got intense. We have to.
Okay, so out of those practices, did you see some improvement, some guys that hadn't been playing as much and hadn't been playing as well?
I saw improvement from everybody, but and we specifically challenged going into that next game against State. We specifically challenged our interiors. I myself pulled the bigs aside and said that you have not been good one-on-one. We can't post trap the big fella the entire game. You're going to have to play one-on-one defense.
Is that how you said it?
It's somewhat how I said it. There may have been a few more choice words in there, but we played one-on-one in the post. We really got after it defensively, and I thought we saw the results of that. Caden came in. I know everyone's been asking about Caden, but Caden came in and gave us a big lift.
So let's get the official word. Caden had a couple of good practices. Is that why you guys? What was it about?
No, he practiced well, and Poppy actually had been practicing well as well. But we just thought, if we were going to trap, if we needed to defend, he's a little more mobile. The ball screens he's a little better at, and so he was the first off the bench, and he responded.
And going into that game, which by the way was your scout, NC State, you did a really good job.
I appreciate that. But the fellas executed. The post trap was phenomenal. The one-on-one defense by Kihei and Reese, big time. They had their hands full with those two guards, so it was good.
Dougie calls the kid Smith, Katovian Smith, however you pronounce his name. That's his third cousin, twice removed.
His long lost cousin.
Right. He's actually on the draft boards. He's good.
No, he's real good. Shoot it from deep, from the logo, can score at all 3 levels. He's really good.
So the game plan was to double. I called Big Boy, Big
Yeah,
Daddy,
Burns, yeah,
Big Daddy
yeah,
Burns.
yeah.
He's a big dude.
And coming into our game, they've been on the roll. You know, they won 8 out of their last 9 coming into that game. And he had been playing really well, averaging 20 and 6. So double him as much as we could, but if the double couldn't get there, really play good one-on-one defense.
He's a pretty good passer.
Great pass.
There were a couple of times when you guys forced him to make tough passes, causing some turnovers, led to a fast break. Reese's first dunk, I believe, was off of one of his passes.
I thought that was the most active our trap had been all season. High hands, the guys anticipating where the passes were coming from. And we did a good job in practice, but they executed.
And they looked so energized.
No, they were ready. And they were motivated after how we had played at Tech.
You played at the highest level. You're coaching at the highest level. How do you convince your team on the road to have the same energy and the same toughness and the same ability that they have at home? Like, what's the big difference?
It's a huge difference. As much as you try to say you got to have energy, your defense has got to travel, the crowd is just different. So the crowd energizes the home team. That's why playing at JPJ is fun. You know, you get that energy from the home crowd, and they're a rowdy bunch down at Tech. So, you know, you got to overcome that, and that juices up the home team. And sometimes that makes the visiting team a little tight. It's just, you know, home court advantage is real.
No, it absolutely. And when you look, especially in big games, it just seems that the bigger the game, the more advantage
big games,
teams have.
rivalry games like that. No, it's big.
Let's go back to Big Daddy Burns and the game plan for him. It seemed like he struggled getting up and down the court.
Yeah, you know, just run them. We were trying to rim run, get a big on the rim.
Let's just explain what rim run means for people who may not be aware.
So just whatever big he was guarding, your job is to sprint rim to rim and make him work. But we also put him in some ball screens.
Yep.
And we wanted him to work on that end of the floor, some off ball and ball screen situations.
And the offense looked like it was moving much more fluid than it had been at Virginia Tech.
I thought again, the guys motivated, but they moved the ball. Gardner again had a good game. Reese had. I thought we got contributions from a lot of different guys. McNeely's coming along, and he's going to be really good. So we were locked in, and it showed. But we were locked in defensively.
I know
we got enough offense.
We have an abbreviated show today because I know you got to get to the JPJ and big game today. And so thank you for stopping by. But I wish I could talk to you about every player, because at the Virginia Tech game, some players were getting criticized for missing some shots, right? But they were still. I thought they played well.
Good looks.
Good looks, right? Like, let's take BVP for example.
Yeah.
He was still strong with the ball. He still made good passes.
Right.
He only got 4 shots.
Right.
I thought defensively he was still fine.
Yeah, so struggled with the shot, didn't take a whole lot of shots, but where I think we as a staff want to see, like on the interior, those guys got to defend. We can't always bring a trap, and sometimes we settle behind. We make it easy.
Yep.
We got to be a little tougher, a little more stout defending inside.
Well, you certainly did against NC State.
Yeah.
I mean, you just felt like you guys looked like a team that was confident and knows they're really good.
Yeah, I don't know if we know we're really good, but that we were good that day.
They played like it.
No, we got some good players, and when they're right, we can play with anybody.
Right, and Reese, the 2 games prior, hadn't been Reese, right? And so Dougie.
Well, Reese had been Reese defensively, hadn't been Reese attacking, getting to the cup. Being assertive, and I think he was up for the challenge. I whispered to he and Kihei, I said, that's a good offensive backcourt down there. This is right before the jump ball. I said, but they hadn't seen you guys yet. I think they like hearing that.
So Corey, on ESPN said these guards from NC State think they're the best players. Think they're the best guards in the ACC. And at halftime, we're going.
I like our two.
But at halftime,
Right.
my point was you can't say you're the best trio of guards when you shoot 4 or 5 for 24.
Well, trio, you're including Armand in that mix?
Whatever. I'm just talking about
Okay.
ACC.
Okay.
Those guys promoting themselves as the best guards.
Yeah, because I like our guys. Especially those two defensively on ball. They make life miserable for everybody. So I'll roll with them any day.
And you got some other guys come off the bench
No
and playing, and
question.
Armand playing defensively.
No question.
You look at IMAC, his defense is just getting so much better.
No, I give me Reese and Kihei, and I'll go against any backcourt in the country.
No question. Well, I think the guards from NC State. I wonder if somebody asked them that question because I certainly would have after that game. Are you guys still the best?
We got two good guards today that are in here. One's a freshman, first year guy. We still got to go up at Carolina against those two. There's some matchups that those guys got to be ready to perform. But I like my two guards.
I like all the guards. I think they're all good. All right, big game today.
Yep, big game. They're going to be pissed off. They got walloped at Miami, so they'll come in here rejuvenated. I'm pretty sure coach has been on them about defending and trying to play the right way. I think Tariq Whitehead's healthy, so he'll be back.
He makes a difference.
Yeah, we got our work cut out. You play a team that's desperate for a win. Want to prove that they're not as bad as they looked the last time out, and they're not. They've got some talent. They got a one and done guy, Filipowski, who's big time.
I coached against him when he was like 6th and 7th grade.
We got they may have several one and done guys.
Yeah,
Lively,
right. Proctor might be.
They've got big time size. Mark Mitchell at the 3 is 6'8", 6'9". They go 6'8", 6'9", 7 foot to start.
Would you say this is one of their least successful teams, which is still a really good team, in the past several years?
I think they're young.
Yep.
They've got Roach, who's a starter, who's got experience. Outside of that, they've got very little experience. Two transfers that they brought in, but the guys that they're relying on are really young, and that's hard.
But that's been their story for the last many years.
Yeah, but they always had enough of returning pieces in there, guys with a little more experience.
What is the game plan going in today?
It's what is always transition, limit, no easy buckets. Try to defend like crazy. Keep them off the glass. I want to say they're third in the country offensive rebounding, better than Houston. And we know what Houston was like offensive rebounding. So keeping them off the glass, limiting them to one and done, and try to be good with the ball and get good shots.
There's been a lot of talk about the coaching staff trading in defense for offense, going a little smaller, right? It went back to big on Tuesday night with against NC State.
Yep.
And Caden played really well.
Yep.
Right. So you think we're going to see more of that today?
We're going to have to. Look at what we're going up against size-wise. And, we give away a little bit height when we start Ben and Gardner, but we've got to be able to rebound. So, I anticipate Caden playing, Poppy getting a chance. We're going to have to match some of that size, but they got to match us too. And so there's a little bit of a chess game going on, but we got to rebound. So whoever helps us rebound is going to be on the floor.
How good are they defensively?
Okay.
Yep.
They're not great, but they got length. They can rim protect. So if they funnel you to the basket, you got to play smart. But they can mix up zone. They kind of keep you off balance defensively. So we just got to be good.
And what do you think of Shire as a coach? So Krzyzewski's probably made a big impact in almost every game he's coached.
Yeah.
Where some people might say he's adding 10 points to the game. Right? Do you think Shire's at that level yet? Or I mean, it's going to take a while for him to get really good.
It's all new. I tell you what he's doing. He's recruiting his tail off. So there's been no dip there as far as recruiting, getting talent. I mean, he's been able to do that. It's Duke. So I get it. But I think he's, it remains to be seen. But he's done a good job with this group. He's young. It's all new to him. So he's figuring it out. But he's got a good staff. But I tell you what, I hate going up against some dudes recruiting. They give me headaches. They do a good job.
It's tough to recruit against them.
Always. There's always been.
What's the strategy if you guys are both going after a kid?
We lay out.
You guys recruited Kyrie Irving, right? They recruited Kyrie. And you happen to have an inside track a little bit because you played with his dad.
Well, I knew his dad. His dad played at BU, and I got a chance to meet and know Dredrick. But, it's hard when they get involved, to be honest. But we just lay out who we are, and we're not going to, do anything different. And we sell who we are. If a kid wants to be a part of this, that's who we want. And we want kids that want us.
I think NIL, over time, Team Ignite, revolutionizing college sports, right? With NIL, we've talked about this a little bit more. We've talked about this in the past. How much does Duke have an advantage? And now Syracuse just signed a kid. We talked about this too, for $1 million from New York City. Allegedly, my Syracuse guys are telling me, right? Like, how much does that play a role? How much is that going to play a role with Duke now? Because now, and it's been documented. I'm not talking about anything that hasn't been documented, where you talk about Duke giving possibly impermissible benefits to players, right? Yeah, and so now it's legal. How much does that play a role?
All I know is certain programs can do certain things, and we can do certain things. From an NIL standpoint, we're doing it by the letter of the law, and we want kids that want to be a part of this. I got no clue. I hear all the stuff you hear. I got no idea what's real and what's fake. I know there's, I do know NIL. Certain kids are going to be more attracted to bigger numbers, and certain kids are going to want what we're all about from a totality standpoint. Not just bottom line number, and then we've got NIL packages for our guys, and guys have done well, and we're gonna keep getting who we're supposed to get.
We're gonna bring Dougie on in a minute.
You got the fresh question of the week?
Yep, but in 2 seconds, before we bring Dougie on, not that I want to anoint Duke as this superpower. And they've been great over the years. They have so many players in the NBA. But we are playing Duke today, so I do want to give them their due credit. Who is your all-time Duke 5 best players?
5 best? Whoa. I go back. So I like watching Duke when I was young. And I really like Mark Allery, but that's a long way back.
That's okay.
But I would say Dawkins, Hill, Leitner, and you're going position.
No, you can do whatever you want. You can name 5 5s if you want. You can name 3 4s and 2 2s.
Kyrie can't count. He didn't play enough games. Boozer was good. Battier was good. I mean, they got a ton of guys. I'm only gonna give you 3. The 3 that I think are the best ever to play there are Dawkins, Leitner, and who did I say? Hill, Grant Hill. Because Grant Hill was a headache. I had to guard Grant, and
who's such a great dude.
He's an awesome dude. So he was a nightmare trying to guard. But those 3, and then you can sprinkle in
Okay.
whoever else.
When we do this with UNC, we're all looking forward to it, right? Where's Lil Ski?
Ski, what we got?
Lil Ski. Where's Lil Ski? Because we're gonna no need to come on because we're gonna make fun. Chris Havlicek loves making fun of Lil Ski about the UNC all-time team because
Who's
his
he
number
got?
one player is his only and number one player is
Who?
Luke May.
Luke May is a number.
All right, but we're not gonna get on Carolina. All right. Misquote. He's
All right.
claiming.
All right.
All right. Havlicek, that one for you because Hav couldn't be here today. We're missing him. And then Dougie's may double up on that question going the inverse. But we'll ask Dougie to come on right now. Dougie, come on in. Welcome, Dougie.
Let's go.
Fresh.
What? That has to be.
Fresh. Are
What
you
a-
rocking
live
a
and direct.
fresh jersey?
Hey, TW brings out all kind
Huh?
of tricks. All kind of tricks. Number 11.
11.
That's right. We got my good side
Hey,
here.
so I was
Not
just
that there's a
telling,
bad side.
I was just telling Coach Soderberg yesterday.
Yep.
11 was my high school number. I wanted 11
But
so
you know why you
bad.
didn't get it?
And I came in and I couldn't get 11 because Fresh was rocking 11.
Because Prodi had my high school number 22.
So I would have easily have flipped with you. So I just doubled up 11 and went with 22. And I wore 22 throughout college.
That's why we've always been brothers. That's how it works.
11 was the number I wanted so bad. That was my number.
What's the word for the numerology, etymology or something?
I got no clue.
Something else like that?
Yes, been wrong people. Where's Lil Ski? That's a Lil Ski question.
Luke, hashtag Luke May. Don't forget. I'm going to follow. All right. You guys talked about NC State. We talked about whoever we played before that. Loved us last game. This is Duke.
Duke's Duke.
I understand Duke's Duke. You like to pretend it doesn't matter. Now I'm over here thinking, my last two games we swept Duke. Your second year, and
Yep.
you were a starter.
Yep.
You didn't lose to Duke too many times in college.
Two Duke.
Yeah, you might have been 500.
So we beat them at Duke. My first year
No,
and
second
third-
year,
second and fourth year.
second and fourth.
Second
the big
and fourth.
comeback your fourth year.
So we won in that crazy double overtime game.
And I was
At
watching
Duke
in New
when we
York
were
City.
down by like 20 plus. But that was my fourth year. So yeah, I won at Duke twice. Never won at Carolina.
I don't think anybody's won at Duke twice except for Ralph Sampson. And as a coach, you won at least twice. Anyhow, let's fun being nice about Duke. We like Allery, we like Leitner.
But you know what?
Let's do the villain
the
team.
guys you named are all 4-year players, right?
All
Oh
of them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Grant was 3.
Grant,
Grant was
I think
4.
Grant
was
was
he? Okay,
Yeah.
but you're not talking about any of the recent guys. You haven't
No.
mentioned any of those guys.
No.
Like Ben Carroll was really, really good.
Who?
Paulo Ben Carroll,
Paulo was
really,
real good.
really good.
But to me, he doesn't stack up with those guys that when they did it for 4 years.
Yeah.
When they accumulated a lot of
Sure.
wins and they got big time stats.
And back then 4 felt like 10 because we're playing them twice a year.
Right.
You're playing them once a year now, right? It felt like
Well,
8 years.
In some years it changes.
Yeah.
We played them twice last year.
So we always go back to the early 90s because that's the glory of the ACC. We got Duke. I don't know who had the scout. Did you say that?
I don't have the Duke Star. I had State.
But you know enough about them
I
and
know
what's
them.
going on and
Yeah.
what we need to do.
What's this?
If you can go back, it's the
Dougie, you joining us?
Sure. For you,
Here you go, Dougie. Take that one.
from your era when you played only, not before, if you could have one player for this game today
One player for
that
this,
we played with,
for this game.
this game that you played with, maybe I played with, I don't know.
That's
would-
an easy question. Come on,
Who,
Dougie.
who would I take?
Not named Brian Stiff.
Okay.
Oh,
Thank you.
what? How you taking him out last second like that? I was
He knows me too
Absolutely.
well.
Dougie's guy. He mentions Brian Stiff every podcast.
I gotta bring him in.
absolutely about to say Brian Stiff.
Right.
All right, that's not fair. Just for this game.
I know who it is already, but you go ahead. Well, you might want to think about how they played versus Duke, as opposed to just an all-time great like me. Kidding.
for this game, because I think we need some defensive, we need some prowess defensively
Okay.
to guard Filipowski. I'm going to get in trouble because I'm not going to say a former teammate, but I'm going to say two guys. Can I name two?
Absolutely. More the merrier.
Mamadi or DeAndre.
I mean, you're just going to go with the number 4 pick in the NBA draft.
So I'd
one
take
you played with, not named Brian Stiff.
one that I played with,
Yep.
not named Stiff, probably JB.
I knew it. That's what I was pulling it.
Because we
know.
we need that help on the interior.
Yep.
And June can score, but he can pull him away from the basket. But defensively, Dre's versatility and Mamadi's versatility. I take either one. It's funny you asked that question. We just were talking about which guy that we coach would really be good with this year's team
For the whole
team,
season.
and who would it be?
DeAndre.
Oh, it's a lot of different answers.
The real Ty Jerome.
Name some guys.
We had Mike Scott, we had Mama D, DeAndre, Anthony Gill, like those dudes, those types of guys. So
Says a lot.
It was a mixed bag within the staff, but it was a fun question to pose. It was pretty cool.
That's why I was, bringing it. By the way, I went to practice yesterday. I watched a little bit. I didn't watch a lot. I got some jumpers up.
You did get.
I got some shots up. The first 4 were tricky, but then it came back around.
Yeah.
And I just really wanted to say, like, this staff, including former players, is a huge deal. It's special, man.
No, we enjoy having everybody back. Whenever they can get back, they're always they're family. So we want you to feel like you're at home.
And this is for locker room access. 2 things I saw, because we know the players. Dante Harris, quick, confident. Am I right?
Super quick.
Little. That's okay. I'm little.
Yeah.
Isaac Trout, Sam Hauser S with the step backs against the defense, the real defense.
It can really shoot it.
And Jason,
You love Isaac Trout.
It can really shoot it.
I love
Isaac Trout is
shooters.
Reese is not really known as a shooter. Not that he can't shoot, but he's not known as a shooter.
Guess who dapped me up yesterday?
Did he give you some love?
No.
But the far dap. And I grabbed him. I was like, he's all sweaty. I'm like, I get it.
Did you get an autograph?
Coach called him out.
And what about iMac?
Oh, always. The best.
Polka dot.
The polka dot. Love the kids, man. But Isaac, I'm telling you, and Jason, of course, I think you may have been coaching the second team, the green team, they call him. He's gassing him up. Isaac. Jason's like, woo! Isaac, woo! Trying to get at the guys. It's nice, Jay. The jumper's nice.
The jumper's nice. The other day, he made a shot from the corner. It was on the move, and he jumped up. And I was like, ooh, I've seen that before. That looks like Cal Guy.
Come on.
Yeah. I'm at. He made a shot. I was like, ooh.
So in the beginning of the year, my thing.
And I yelled at the guys. I said, you can't stop him. You can't stop him. This was in practice. And they were getting so mad. And so I yelled to him. I said, hey, I've seen that shot before, Cal Guy. And he just laughed. He looked really good.
I think Jason's wrong. And it's not because of the Jay Willie show. For this game today, I'd take you.
Me?
Because you had that blend of defense. You're not backing down from anybody. You gave June a little too much credit for his defense.
No, June played no defense.
But you
But
said
I would let June go score.
Right, of course.
Well, June.
But I think today we would take. I'm telling you, in this game today, because he's versatile, can guard 2 or 3, 4, and you mess with 5s too, man. You didn't back down. I would take Jay Willie.
Not over those guys I named. Those guys are different.
You're bringing offense into the equation now.
Let's go back to Duke for a second. We talked about the all-time Duke best team, or best players, not best team. Who are your least favorite Duke players over the years?
I can make that list for him. He can't.
No,
Yes, he could.
I don't.
Okay, so let's talking so much trash, and I was like,
Hey,
I love it.
we had
I
a
know
great,
you
we
do.
had a
I
great
love
crew
it.
last night for their
I know you
game.
did. So that's why I knew my kid was in good hands when
No,
he
I
came
love
here.
it. I love it.
Right. All right, I'm gonna let you go.
All right.
We appreciate it. Good luck today.
Thank you. Who you got coming on? I see a bunch
Well,
of
we got
celebrities in the house.
Well,
we got
Sean
Sugar.
Singletary's supposed to be coming in.
Coming?
I see some celebrities in the house.
She just said she's in.
Sugar
What's that?
Shane.
Sugar Shane is in the
Sugar-
house.
Sugar Shane.
Grant Kersey.
The show's about to go downhill as soon as Shane comes on. So it goes downhill from here.
No, we've got Tom Hinsky coming on.
Hinsky's coming on?
Yep.
All right.
3-time.
Well, then the show will take off once Hinsky comes on. But
It's gonna get more intellectual. Take another level.
yeah,
On the
it
intellect
goes
side.
to a different level.
Yep. And we're looking for Sean Singletary. Hope he's coming on. And Harold Dean.
We got that. We got Hensy's got a question.
Hey, Hinsky.
Hinsky's got a question.
Claudio's in town, right?
Hold on. Where's
Claudio in
T-Dub?
town?
T-Dub. T-Dub.
Okay.
Can we get Tom Hinsky a question from the audience? Can we get on the mic, please? No, Dougie, sit down. We got a roving mic. We don't? We had to give it back? Okay, go ahead.
Can I just say to you, okay?
Yes. Or take it from Dougie.
Okay, so here's my question. So the season's long, right? And when we think about it, it's like 3 individual seasons, right? There's the
Come on, Tom.
regular season,
Yep.
there's the ACC tournament, and there's the NCAAs.
Yep.
How do you break that up and chunk it for the players so that they're staying energized, keeping the main task in mind, but getting through the beginning, the middle, and the end?
Good question. Fresh, you were right. It took another level of intelligence here.
And the dialect and the words and the
No, so we often talk about non-conference, regular season, postseason, but then we're smart as far as how we practice. You start shrinking practice time. It becomes more film study, less on the floor, especially the guys that are logging minutes. And so, we're getting massages and we're doing all of that type of stuff to just keep them fresh because it is a long season. But, we're often talking about, in stages. We chunk non-conference, we chunk ACC. Okay, now we should be gradually improving and making strides so that we're playing our best ball late. But we got to be smart about the load we're putting on them.
Wait.
And Coach Curtis is a huge part of how that happens.
I got a question. Did you guys get massages when you guys were student athletes?
No,
here?
we got none of that.
When did that become part of the
so
plan?
between massages and nutrition and all of that. I mean, we the night before every game, Fresh, where are you? The night before every game, we do film. And we go over the scout report and we watch the opponent. But at the end of the film session, they give us quarter pounders with cheese or double cheeseburgers from Burger King. I mean, come on, who eats like that now? These kids, Mike Curtis would have a heart attack if that's what we were doing with our guys. So, everything's different. But the nutrition, sleep, just getting them off of their wheels. He gives them like 5 minutes post-practice to shoot. If you didn't, they'd be in the gym all day. So we're trying to be smart with their load in the bodies. Yep. Hinsky.
Big Ski, we're gonna have you back on shortly.
Yeah.
So
All right.
thanks for coming.
Thank you,
Great
buddy.
question. All right, we're gonna get rid of you.
All right, I'm ready. I'm out.
Go do your thing.
We'll do this again next week. Back in my room.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Absolutely.
Good to see
Great
you.
job as always.
Thank you.
Let's go get him today.
We
Are we
done?
No, we're still on, but we're gonna say goodbye to you.
Okay.
And we're gonna take a quick break. And we also have Mr. Phil Wendell in the house, who's gonna come on the show, super
Hey, Phil.
fan,
Good to see
and
you.
a
I
couple
told
other guys.
You guys got all kind of celebrities.
We
in here.
do. We absolutely do. So
Yep.
we're gonna continue in a moment,
All right.
live from the dairy market and from Milkman's Bar.
Thank
Milkman's
you.
Bar, thanks very much for supporting us. Addison, awesome job with the drinks. Thank you very much. Delicious.
Where's Cat?
So we will see you guys in a moment. Thanks very much. We'll be back.
Testing, testing. Welcome back. Locker Room Access Show. Little quick schedule announcement. Appreciate everybody for joining us. We have the live show with Mark Jerome and Dougie Fresh. We've got a few guests today. So Phil Wendell, Charlottesville legend, ACAC owner, is here. Huge super fan of Virginia basketball. He's going to come and chat with Mark. We've got Grant Kersey. I think we have Sean Singletary coming. Harold Dean. Sit back, enjoy the show. Heads up, this is a live podcast. We apologize. There may be adult language.
Hey.
Fresh is here.
Hey.
I'm just giving you the warning. You may need earmuffs for the little ones.
So
We'll try our best,
I might have
but
to-
just heads up. I don't think we'll have any issues, but Fresh, that's your warning. We usually have a bell online. You can catch us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Appreciate everybody for coming out. We also have a merch here available. We have a bunch of hoodies, special. Normally they launch and they're like $65, $75 each. $50 here today. Anybody here supporting us, we appreciate everybody coming out. Any other scheduling announcements?
No, big thanks to Eleanor.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you,
Addison
Eleanor.
for the drinks,
Yes,
for providing
thank
that
you.
at the
Milkman's
Milkman's Bar.
If you guys need anything, come talk to anyone here. We're happy to help answer questions. Big game tonight. We'll kick it over to you, Mark. Let's go.
All right. We have a few other guests on tap as well. Anna and John Schick are going to be joining us, who are always great fans, have been here for a while. So let's kick back off with the pregame show. Dougie Fresh is joining me. We're without Hab today, who couldn't be here,
Yep.
unfortunately.
Always miss him.
Right? Always.
Nobody laughs at my jokes when Hab's not here.
I do. And you just met T-Dubs, and of course, our superstar producer, second year student at UVA, son of the great Tom Henske, three-time NCAA soccer champion, super goalie, who's going to be on the show soon, talking about NIL and money. Phil, thanks so much for joining us.
Bad. My pleasure.
You've been a fan here. You moved from Chicago
Moved from Chicago, moved to business here.
40 plus years ago.
44,
44 years ago.
1979, right.
Why Charlottesville?
Well, my dad was military, and they had retired to Williamsburg, so he was a 30-year Army guy, and my parents said, hey, if you're going to relocate your company, you'd love Charlottesville. So my niece was a student at UVA at the time, so I came here and visited it in January, and it was 40 degrees warmer than Chicago, and I said, it's got to be the right place for us to be. So we moved the entire company here in 1979.
And that's Lakeland Tours.
That's like
And
now World Strides, right?
And how was it doing in Chicago?
Quite well. The business, yeah, we were doing fine. It was just a weather issue. At that point in time, we were doing business in all 50 states, and somebody just walked into my office and said, why are we putting up with this weather? So,
Weather from a lifestyle issue, not from a business issue. Or all
yeah, that's
you
good.
know, you deserve better. I
Yeah.
agree.
Anyway,
And
so
Charlottesville, great
Charlottesville
choice,
was
wonderful
it.
place.
Lovely. And I grew up in Northern Virginia. So as a young kid from 7 to 14, I lived in Arlington, and I always liked the state. It was a great place to grow up.
Were you a
kid.
fan of basketball between 7 and 14?
It's hard to believe the first time I touched a basketball was when I was 14 years old. So not really. Kids in those days, and that's in the 50s, we played baseball and we played football. And, when I went to Chicago, basketball was a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So literally, gym class my freshman year in high school is the first time I touched a basketball.
And then you fell in love with it?
I fell in love with it. Yeah, I followed my high school team, which was excellent. Illinois, they had all 800 high school teams compete for one title.
That was one title win. That's right.
It's kind of like the Hoosiers story.
Yep.
And
You always have the Chicago big city team, and
the
they're playing
Chicago-
Decatur, MacArthur, where my parents were.
precisely. Anyway, that was my
I
story.
know a little
growing
bit, Mark.
Yeah,
And then you came here. You
I
moved
came-
here
I moved here.
the day
Yes,
Ralph Sampson
hard to
signed.
believe. I picked
Come
up the phone. It was like May 1 or April 30th or May 2, and I called my friends back home and I said, "Hey, we may no longer be Northwestern or Indiana fans. Virginia just got this great recruit." So, because all of us in the office were basketball
That's amazing.
guys, so that was my first day.
So how did you get involved with University of Virginia basketball?
Well, the first thing I did was I reached out to a banker and I said, "How do I affiliate myself in such a way so that I can get tickets?" So they introduced me to VAF, the Athletic Foundation, and I met with a guy named Ted Davenport and wrote a check, and out of that I got 4 nosebleed seats. So that was year 1, and that was Ralph's first year. We went to and won the NIT that year.
And you've seen the team just over the last 44 years.
Over the last
And your
44
seats, as you're seeing the team over the last 44 years, your seats kept moving down.
I have a better
down and
I have
down.
I have a better seat today.
Slightly better, right?
I have a good seat. I can't complain about where they put it.
And
Couple of them.
earlier, you and Dougie were talking, and Dougie said, "You're taking me, right?" Because Dougie's got pretty good seats to the game today. Not quite as good as yours. He's
Allegedly.
trying to move up, and you were like,
Don't scare me. I do
"Not
have,
today, Dougie."
I do have a handful of tickets, but long gone. Duke gets a lot of requests
I'm
from
sure.
from our people.
So how have you seen this team change over the last 44 years, and how have you seen the administration towards the basketball program and sports in general, athletics in general, and how have you seen the coaches change and the players?
Well, everything's totally different now. I mean, when we came here in 1979, we had a great 4-year run. We had a Final
Amazing.
4, Final 8, Final 16, and an NIT.
And you thought it was going to be like that every year.
And I said, wait a minute, I'm spoiled. And then, of course, the year Ralph graduated, they ended up in the Final 4 the next year
Yeah.
with freshmen Olden Polynice and Jimmy Miller, Othell Wilson, Rick Carlisle,
great
Ricky
team.
Stokes. And been going like this there were some down years. I mean, we had some rough times in the 90s, and we had some rough times in the early 21st century.
The late 90s, not the 93,
Yeah, I want to make
95.
sure I don't step on his. That recruiting class, yours is that the year of
My-
the Fabulous Five, Fab Five in
We were.
Michigan?
It was Chris Havlicek, Terry Kirby, Ted Jeffries, Doug Smith, and Sean Wilson. The real
Gotcha.
Fab Five was Chris Alexander, Corey Alexander,
Right.
Jason Williford, of course, Yuri Barnes,
Oh,
and Junior Burrow. So
Junior Burrow.
Yeah, that
Right,
was-
yeah.
fabulous.
So I've seen the run. Everything has changed, of course, in the last 4 to 5 years, radically. And we've had a great run. UVA under Coach Bennett. Everybody knows this. This team kind of reminds me of the 2019 team. I was able to go to every one of those 6 games, and I took Ralph and his girlfriend then at the time, and Columbia, Louisville, Minneapolis. Probably the best 3 weeks of my life, other than having kids.
You know what?
at some point, it's even better than having kids.
Well,
Trust me,
thank
around
you.
age
I was
3
trying to
7.
be politically correct.
I
for
understand
all
what you're
of
saying.
That's
though. I actually
amazing.
met you at the Final Four,
you. Yeah.
and you were holding court and got to meet some of the people you were talking with, and
Gotcha.
got to understand who you were. So how has your relationship evolved with the University of Virginia staff and the administration?
I became friends with Coach Holland.
Mhm.
And he and I, of all the guys that have coached here, I got to know Terry better than anybody else. We actually took 3 or 4 family vacations together. So I became embedded in the culture. Probably didn't, of my 44 years, I don't think I've missed more than 1 game a year or 2. I might have had a 25-year run
Wow.
without missing any.
Wow.
Now at this time in my life, I'll miss a game for Florida, but I'm back in town for Duke. So
Coppin State game can wait.
the
That's the one
guy.
I should have. No.
I think
not
it's
talking about
important
Coppin
we
State.
go to those games. I go to
Absolutely.
those games,
Absolutely.
but at the same time, I would say I probably attended 98 or 99% of all the games.
And
So
you've been very supportive over UVA over the last several years.
I have been.
How did
yeah.
that start? How has that changed? How supportive are you? And
It started with my relationship with VAF, and then in year 2, when we went to the Final Four with Ralph and lost the day President Reagan was assassinated. That was the Final Four. That you guys are too young
that's
to
right.
remember that.
Yeah.
That would have been.
I remember where I was.
I upped my level of support to VAF as it relates to basketball. In a lot of the capital campaigns that they've had over, most people don't know that we do not get funding. UVA does not get funding from the state.
I did know
If
that.
you're going to build a new arena or a new baseball field or a new locker room or your weight room is antiquated, and we've already built a new weight room for the JPJ
Yeah.
and a new locker room. So that's how much things have changed it's almost like an arms race.
Right.
Arms being dollars. And of course, the last 3 or 4 years, you guys will be talking about something I don't know anything about. You know,
Can I ask a question on that
Yeah.
trajectory Mark's asking about and you're getting to? Is it ever enough? Like, how do you've seen it evolve? You built you were part, I'm sure, of the McHugh Center, state of the art weight room back in the day. Now Ty, his teams had the weight room. Then you guys raised X millions more for a better weight room. Mike Curtis, the best in the country, in my opinion.
he
Now
is,
the technology and the
Yeah.
computers, a lot of that goes to technology.
Yeah.
Is it ever enough?
at some point in time, you're going to run into donor fatigue.
Yeah.
And donor fatigue is, wait a minute, I help with the JPJ, I help with the weight room, I help with how can a brand new arena after just 8 years need a new locker rooms. But
Yes.
I remember Tony telling me 5-6 years ago when we redid the weight room that we're now mid-level of the 360 some odd D1 basketball program. Our weight room is in the middle. It's not number 1. So it'll be interesting to see
Yeah.
what transpires over the next 5 to 6 years. Look at baseball. Same story. We were a baseball team 20 years ago
Right.
was playing on AstroTurf that the football team had already ruined.
Sure.
And the next thing you know, you have a baseball stadium, and then the next thing you know, more stands, a scoreboard.
I will say my locker room, I'm sure you were involved with the old U-Haul. We did have a hot tub in the locker room, Mark. These guys don't have a hot tub in the locker room.
That was a phone call from Terry.
were you getting
Holland.
massages, Dougie? Back then, you guys didn't have a masseuse, right? So you're sacrificing some things, right?
Yeah.
But so how does it work? There's a capital fund, and they say, okay, we're going to call our top guys, and JPJ needs. We want to build a new stadium. We got to be able to compete with the
Right.
big programs if we want to be a big program.
Well, in the U-Haul had absolutely nothing. So the hand that Jeff Jones was dealt and Terry Holland was dealt with, it wasn't much better than a high school gym.
Just a glorified.
It was an oval, and if you were at midcourt, you were very far away from the court. So we knew that they put together a committee of 20 people, and the committee's purpose really is, I want everybody on this committee to write a check or concurrent with that, talk to
No
people
secret.
that can write. So they need a lead gift. And then, of course, Paul Tudor came along and put us to the finish line. But that's how it kind of works with all athletic facilities at UVA. We've gotten so far behind in football. And finally, somebody made that lead gift or something else happened, which is really what happened. And the next thing you know, we're going to have the support facility we need to compete with the other schools in the Power 5 conferences.
As far as your
Right.
connection with the players,
Yeah.
right? Players come to school,
Sure.
student athletes come to school,
Yeah.
and a lot of them can't afford to live and have
Right.
food. Like they get hungry or
Yeah.
don't need money for meals or travel. And
Got it.
at the start of your relationship with Virginia, you helped give them jobs and supported them.
Yeah,
Right? Were your
we
company Lakeland Tours at the time?
precisely. We had summer jobs. I don't know if that covered your era,
I
Doug.
bought a
but-
1983 Volkswagen Jetta.
Oh,
from that
wow.
job. How's that?
we overpaid you.
They did. Two-door sunroof.
But
That's another conversation.
Anything-
Next year, I bought a boombox system.
I'll tell you how tight it was at UVA in the early 80s. Jimmy Miller is a personal friend of mine. I was kind of like a second father, as is the case with Rick Carlisle, who's now coach of the Pacers. So those guys would spend time at my house in the summer, and anything we did, I ran by Terry. And I said, hey, can we take Jimmy on a vacation?
Yeah.
And then Terry said, well, do you take other employees on vacation? I said, yeah, we do that all the time. So therefore, it was that tight. I can remember.
No wonder you never gave me your address. 30 years later, I find this out. I would have been on every.
True story, Doug. It was the NCAA tournament. No, it was the ACC tournament. It was held at the Cap Center. And we, at that point in time, you couldn't leave between the afternoon and the evening games. And so we had a buffet out, and one of the players' parents at the time, this was Andrew Kennedy's era, was going to get into the buffet line, and I had to turn that person down and said,
Amazing,
sir,
right?
you can't. Totally true. Now, Dave Odom was there at the time, assistant coach, and Dave said, get out of here. I mean, we're going to feed the – but
You can't give someone food. It's bad.
it was that tight.
A
And,
buffet. No, I know. And the thing about University of Virginia is, at least under Bennett, they are exceptionally and extraordinarily compliant.
couldn't
Right.
agree with you more.
And of course, I know this from my child playing for 3 years, and there's stories about a kid and someone tried to offer a kid a milkshake.
Yeah.
And the kid had to turn it down.
Yeah, these are
And my
true
son's
stories.
going, this
Yeah.
is so crazy because my friends playing at other schools that I won't name
Yeah.
are getting paid so much money.
Well, here's
Well, we're
a,
playing them
yeah.
today, so you have to name it.
yeah. Here's an irony. One of the individuals affiliated with your group, your organization, was my stepson. So
Yeah.
Cody was best friends with Justin Anderson and still is to this day.
Part of our locker room access
Now I could take Justin to dinner because I was with my stepson.
Right.
I mean that's how tight I've seen Virginia play.
I
by the
hope
ball.
Justin's not as hungry now as he was back when he was in college.
He shouldn't be. He had a couple of dollars under him. So
were
how
all
have
hungry.
you seen, what does this mean to you now with NIL versus in the past?
I'm always the last one to hear about these kinds of things. I know it's what drove Coach K out of the game. I was told by friends close to the game that Coach K adapted to the one and dones. And then when the NIL came along, it was like, this is too much. Probably a true story. I'm on the fringe of that. I'll help in ways. Probably get a little bit with baseball, and if there's more I can do with basketball. But it's crazy. It remains to be seen what college basketball is going to look like in 4 years.
You brought up Coach K. I think Jay Wright. We've all speculated it's probably similar.
Yeah, I agree.
You have a relationship with Tony Bennett, whether it's personal business or otherwise.
Yeah.
How do you feel, without revealing anything, where he sits on the NIL thing? Because he's obviously all of our hero.
I don't have a clue. I've had a couple of meals with Tony and maybe a couple of sessions in his office for a couple hours. So we're not close. We certainly know each other.
Yeah.
But
It's business.
I would think with the Tony, it's going to be extremely hard on him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's here to take top 50, top 100, top 150 kids coming out of high school
Recruits.
and make them better and make them NBA players. That's his shtick.
We have a few.
We've never been in the one and done, but
Yep.
he's got 8, 9 guys in the league. That's his selling feature. If there are bidding wars going on for these kind of people,
Well, we can't
what's
have it.
going to happen? And I know it drove Kay away. I'm not surprised at all with the Villanova guy.
With Jay Wright leading.
Yeah,
Possibly for that reason.
yeah. Can I? Do I want to be in this battle?
Are you following other boosters from other schools who are having influence? Like my friend's telling me that there's a big time guy at Syracuse who's offering players for whatever the negotiations, whatever the deals are.
I'm paying absolutely no attention to that. In fact, I ask people, educate me, tell me what's going on. Can I help? Do I want to help?
Right.
But I'm happy to see the kids get something they deserve, certainly. And
Let's
they
talk
put
about-
in a lot. Most individuals don't know it's a 9-month season. You know that. How many hours a week did you put in when you were here?
Oh, as many as we could. But
Yeah.
it was regulated, I
It
think.
was regulated.
But then we could do on our own, and
Yeah.
you know.
No, it was pretty. They put
We
in a lot of time.
We
You're
had,
actually-
we had some fun in my day too, just for the record.
I'm sure
but
you did.
We got our work in.
Yeah, sure. But so let's talk about a couple of coaches or players that you
Go.
might have been very close with. And Cody just mentioned that you have a good relationship with Rick Carlisle.
I do.
Yep. How did that relationship develop? And give me some insight to Rick Carlisle, because he's known as a unique character.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I know a lot about Rick. He hung out with us during the summers, meaning at my house. Great piano player. Was really good looking then. He had a lot of hair. And didn't the Carolina girls vote him the best looking guy in the AC? Anyway, so I
didn't know
stated Rick worked his tail off after, and he was a 3rd round pick of the Celtics.
He did work hard.
And he might have beat out the number 2 or the number 1. So he had a 3-year career. Then he got an assistant coaching. We've stayed in touch. He has a beach home in South Carolina. And when we go there as a family, we usually, hook up, get a dinner.
What does Rick spend, like 1.5 days there per year? Because I know he works.
Now
his
that's
ass off.
the way it works now. He's got he'd like to get his daughter into UVA, and
He's got a chance.
Can I have a word with the admissions committee? This would be a good admit. And I think his daughter is a senior down in Dallas, and then stayed there to finish her 2
school.
years of private
Trade.
school. But it's a good family.
Why do you think he gets such a what's unique about his personality, or what insight can you lead us to tell us?
He's clearly stoic. He's incredibly introspective.
Yeah.
Drop dead bright. And I took him. Well, I didn't take anybody through a workout. All that means is I rebounded for him.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, he was
Meticulous.
with the Celtics, and I got more. I was dropping sweat. So 500 shots a day, and he followed Larry Bird's model. So when Rick was drafted, I think Bird kind of took him under his
Yeah, they had a
wing.
good relationship. I
They
know
had a
that.
great
Good respect.
relationship, and I watched his summer daily workout, 500 shots a day. Here, free throws beyond the arc.
I'll tell you something else about Rick. He used to play with us in the summers and come back. And when he was not in season or whenever, he would audit classes at Virginia. He took Dr. Bob Rotella, the famous sports psychologist class, with me, Ted Jeffers, and Chris Havlicek. And we're like, dude, you're in the NBA. Why are you sitting at a 9 a.m. class? So he was an academic of sorts. Is that am I thinking about it right?
Extremely introspective. He
Yep.
came down. Don't you have a ring ceremony when you become a junior? A ring ceremony.
We did it.
Juniors get rings. Well, they do now.
Okay.
So 5 or 6 years ago, Rick was the keynoter for that. He stayed at the house, went out to dinner, and he gave the talk to the junior class. And
cool.
he threw out a few F-bombs during the talk. This was
I'm
a
holding
year.
back.
This was a year or two after Dallas had won their first NBA championship. So
He was, and on the court, he was a very tough player. He was really chip on the shoulder, tough guy.
not inordinately athletic, but just
I
a
can
hard
relate.
worker. Yeah.
Yeah.
6'4", worked his tail off. And he transferred from, I think he was the oldest guy in the ACC, Doug. He was 24-year-old senior.
Oh, wow.
Because he might have done a redshirt year
Yeah,
and then a transfer year. He sat out. He might have gone to Maine or somewhere like that.
he's from
And
upstate New York. I
yeah,
remember
upstate New York.
Yeah.
He wanted to play at a higher
Different
level.
guy.
Yeah.
Different guy.
But a
That's
good
what
guy.
he's doing. But he's,
I have friends in senior administration in the NBA, and they put Rick in the top 25% of the NBA.
He was ridiculously smart.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Man,
he's been very successful.
He's
done
been
well.
very successful, and wherever he goes, he might not be the best coach, but he's among the best.
All right, we're going to keep the show rolling. We're going to
Good.
let you go because I know you got to get to the game.
Yeah,
We got a bunch of other guests to get
gotcha.
to.
Thanks very much.
We're going to kick it back to T-Dubs or
T-Dub.
Cody. in a minute to continue talking about locker room access while we bring another guest on. And we want to thank you very much
You bet.
for
Enjoyed
joining
it.
us. We'll see you
Doug,
at the game.
great to see you again.
Thank
bet.
you, Phil.
Thanks much, Phil.
I'll see you at the game when everybody else is behind us.
Yes, thank you, Phil, for coming. We always love seeing Phil swing by.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate all the
Sorry,
support he has for UVA.
He needs a coffee. His coffee got cold.
Sorry. Quickly, I'm just going to do a shout out on the merch over here at the audio video section here at the Milk Bar. We've got a couple of new pieces of gear that Spence and Cody put together. Normally they're like 65 to 75. Today they're 50. And we got a special guest, Sean Singletary, in the house, UVA legend. But in terms of the gear, I'll tell you one story. There's a Pillars hoodie down here that Spence put together, and the inspiration was from a guy that started Fear of God, and the whole point of his was taking basketball as an inspiration and the culture and bringing it in a more luxury look. So, Spence loved it, turned it into a Pillars Fear of Tony, which normally says, I think, Essentials Fear of God. So we kind of took that inspiration and made the little piece for you. So take a look at that one. I think there's not a whole lot of them, but we've got it in black and white. If you want to take a look, again, it's like $50. Normally we process and ship, I think they're like $75 online. So grab that if you want. We're going to kick it back over here, Mark, shortly. We got Sean Singletary about to jump off. Any other announcements, Mark, that you want to make? Any other? Am I forgetting anything?
No, we still got a couple more guests coming on. We've Sean Singletary. We've got Anna and John Shakeup coming soon. Harold Dean, hopefully, is going to be joining us. Thank you, Spencer.
And once again, thank you to Dairy Market, Milkman's Bar for hosting us. If you have any questions, concerns, come find any one of us. Spencer can help with anyone if you need something. And I'll kick it over to you, Mark.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Dougie took a quick bathroom break. We are back with Sean Singletary, who 17 years ago, 2007, seems like yesterday, made the shot heard around Charlottesville. I'm calling it.
Right.
Huge shot, tremendous shot that's always going to be remembered. But before we go into that, I got to tell you, I have a lot of respect for you because before I knew you, before I even talked to you for years, being in the basketball world, I've heard your name so many times in New York.
Right.
In New York. Now you're from Philly,
right,
but I still heard your name in New York, right? So people were talking about you there. And in New York, everybody's a critic.
Just like
that
Philly.
guy can't play. He sucks, right? It's just how we're conditioned. Right. So people talking in New York about somebody being good, that's a lot of respect.
Right. No, I appreciate
By the way,
that.
that's not how they say it. That kid's not good. That kid's not good. That kid's not good, right? They're just saying using a couple other words, right?
Right. I played in IS8 when I was in high school. And
Let me tell people what IS8 is. IS8 is a tournament in New York City that you could only play there if you were really good.
Game, not your name.
In a small gym deep in Queens.
Right.
Of one of the New York City boroughs for people who know New York City. Right. So small gym that it's like finding some hole in the wall in some place you never heard of, and coming from Philly to go play in that.
Right.
You had to be good.
Right. I played with the Tim Thomas Players with Jimmy Salmons.
So that was a team out of Jersey.
Yep. So we brought Kyle Lowry down there, J.R. Smith, and myself, and we went against the best guards. We escaped Sebastian. Sebastian didn't want to show up. They talking trash. He didn't come. But all the other guys, we got the best of those dudes, man. So that's when I really started getting respect on the East Coast. My sophomore year, going into my junior year, and I would just go. We were nationals. We had Bob Gibbons. We were at Florida at the AAU. National events, and going to California and traveling. But so I did some work in New York.
Congratulations for having success. But how did you pick UVA? I mean, you played for. Were you recruited by Lato, or were you recruited by
Coach Gillen? And Walt Fuller passed away. Awesome guy, but they came to my school. I went to Penn Charter High School, and they came to my school. So I was in the computer lab doing some work, and I would see these guys walking by. I'm like, who are these guys? And and they were so nice and so cool. But they recruited me, and my mother knew in terms of networking and education what it was about. The other schools who were involved were Kansas and Ohio State, and I never took those visits. You get 5 visits. I never took those visits, but I took a visit to UVA. I took a private plane with Joakim Noah. We came and visited. We had a good time. We played a little basketball, and I went home. And the next day, I looked at the Sabre.com. That was a message board, and I really don't look at message boards, but I looked at it that day, the next day, and it said Sean Singletary has committed to UVA. So I yell upstairs. We had 3 stories in our house, and I said, "Mom, what's going on?" She was like, "Your buddy's going to UVA." And it was like, I didn't even get my visits, But it was the best decision for me. This town has always been good to me, and it's always been love and friendships and peace. And coming from Philadelphia, it's always been, something, a dream come true. Yeah,
Yep.
So.
How was your game able to translate from Northeast basketball to UVA and college in general? Because Northeast basketball, right, isn't necessarily
Northeast, Northwest. Yeah, the whole North Philly. It's kind of survival, in the court. And Coach Gillen is a New York guy, and I did everything he asked me to do. He asked me to communicate. He asked me to box out rebound. He asked me to, get 50-50 balls, and I did that. And so then he would allow me in the range to do more things. And he knew I was fast. It was like, you know what, get the ball, and get in transition. Anybody knows Coach Gillen, he's like, right. He says right like 1,000 times when he talks. But, he just told me to go, and I just had a few good games as a freshman and kind of developed my game in the off season and just continued to go from there. But Coach Gillen gave me a lot of confidence in the way he coached me.
which led to you being 3-time first-team All-ACC player, which is remarkable and unheard of. It's so rare.
No shout out to Tyler Hansborough and Jared Dudley because I was second place twice. So, Tyler got it once and Jared got it once. I just missed it by 1 vote. I was like, But, it was good. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was a good run, man. It's a testament to my teammates. Devin Smith, who was with Phoenix Suns for a little bit. We played Maccabi, J.R. Reynolds, Jason Clark, Elton Grant. I had a bunch of really good teammates, man. And great coaches.
How would you describe the game now compared to when you played? And how would you have done 15 years later?
It fits everything I do today. Because when I got in the NBA, and there was one guy under 6 foot or 6'1". Now it's like they're playing 3 guards. So the game has definitely changed. A lot of rule changes. The freedom of movement law, you can't really touch, you can't be physical.
Right. Is that the biggest difference that you see?
Yeah.
Freedom of movement?
Yeah. Because when I got to school, I had to bulk up. I've always been a skinny kid, but when I got to school, I had to bulk up, just to get my way. But the game is faster. It's the pace I played at, which was advantageous to me, but it sometimes wasn't advantageous to the success of the team because I played fast. But now everybody's playing fast. It's a fast game. It's a fun game. It's fun to watch. It's good for the fans. Good for business. So, yeah.
Yep. Your years under Leto individually were great. The team was you had some really good games, right?
It's volatile, yeah.
40 points against Arizona.
Yeah. I dropped Arizona, Gonzaga. Got Duke up out of there.
And we're going to get Duke in a second. But let's talk about the Leto years and struggle, challenge, or how much did you enjoy it?
It was fun. Like I said with Coach Gillen, he demanded certain things of us in terms of the communication aspect and things you need to learn in life, like communication, like helping the helper, and then being in the system. But it was fun, and because I've done all those things, and I came into practice every day. I worked my butt off. And I was in the weight room early. I was in the weight room later. I was in the gym early getting shots up. I was in the gym after getting shots up. So I was able to do. I had kind of free reign to do what I wanted to do because I put the effort out there and I did the work. But we had some success. We won, the league championship. We didn't do what the guys did a couple of years ago. But it was fun and it was a stepping stone and the culture of this university. It was a good time. It was a good time.
Let's talk about this Duke game. Your game 16 years ago, 2007.
So this game right here?
Early. Oh, I love that. I love that. Right around this time, I think it was February 1st, February 2nd, whatever it was. How often do you think about it? What do you remember about it?
I don't think about it much, but I'm reminded about it a lot, and it's been a staple in people's minds in this town, and former players, and everybody that's been a part of the university. There's something that's that was really good, and it was awesome. It was an awesome day. It was an awesome game, and I just remember JR scoring 25, 27, and then he led us the whole way, and I didn't do much. I did a lot of defense. I did all the other stuff, but JR was killing them because DeMarcus Nelson was guarding me, and Greg Paulus was guarding JR, and JR was frying his behind.
But it's interesting now, right? Because Shire was playing that game.
Right, Josh Shire was out there. He was guarding Adrian Joseph. But yeah, John Shire.
I think he only had 7 points.
Yeah, he didn't. We were too fast. We were too physical. And we're at home, and the fans of JPJ and the UVA fans, they were all there, and it was like, it's a feeling that you can't really explain, but it was awesome. It was beautiful.
All right, but shot goes in. You see the ball go through the net. First couple of things you're thinking.
I wasn't thinking about nothing. So we're in the pick and roll, and they switched Josh Roberts on me, and I'm like, this dude can't guard me. So, but he did a good job. So now I give him an in and out. I cross over get Greg Paulus out of there, and then I get into Josh Roberts, and Josh is long. He's I want to say he's lazy, but he was long, and I was able to get to the edge, and I was able just to get the shot up. And it just went through, and I looked at the clock. I was like, "Wow, this is going to happen." But we are celebrating, right? And they throw the ball down to Greg Paulus, and he got a wide open shot at the end. Like, we could have lost that game, but it was very exciting. There were a lot of people in attendance, and it was just a monumental moment in my career, and for UVA.
I am fascinated what's going on right now with college and high school sports. Right? You've got the NIL. You've got the G League Ignite team. You've got overtime. There are and kids can obviously go overseas whenever they want. Given if you were playing today, all the options, and everyone was offered to you, Ignite, which is the G League rookie team, right? Some of the guys, team overtime, NIL. Would those have impacted and influenced your decision? And what would you think you may have done? I guess it really wasn't up to you. So what would your mother have done?
There's a lot, right? There's a lot of things, there's a lot of with this in all of our lives, and I just.
How do you turn down a couple $100,000? How do you turn down $1 million? How do you turn that down? I mean, I don't know what your background economically was, but I know if someone came to me growing up, or someone approached Ty growing up, or said, "Hey, we want to give you $1 million," and it wasn't UVA, we'd have to strongly consider that.
Right. Everything evolves, and this is just a part of the evolution of basketball. A lot of people have put a lot of hard work and effort into the game, and probably thought they believed that they needed, some amount of, some compensation. But it's for the kids now, and they're taking advantage of it. I don't know if it would influence me in any other way, but I just don't know. But it's awesome that the kids are getting paid now, their value and their influence, and a testament to Harold Dean, the Colonel Staples, the Dougie Fresher, the guys that came before us who played, Ricky Stokes, the Wally Walkers, these all guys that played for free.
Yep.
And now eventually these guys are getting paid to do their thing. So that's awesome. It's an awesome thing. Corey Alexander, Curtis, all those guys. So it's about time.
I got one question for you last before we let you go. What would Dougie Smith's value be now in NIL if he were playing today?
Well, we'll pay him a couple we give him a couple sweatshirts and a couple towels. No, that's a man. Doug, that's my dog, man.
That's great. But what would his value be?
On 1 0 to 10?
Last thing.
That's my value. I'm just a model.
A sweatshirt.
I'm an unpaid
Last
model.
thing.
How's that value?
What is Sean Singletary's? What's next for Sean Singletary?
Well, I've been doing a lot of work in the community here. Charlottesville has always been my second home. Now my primary home. We got a gym going up in Ruckersville, One Life Community Center next to a church, and I'm looking to build a facility here in Charlottesville. And it's like bridge the gap in the community. It's coming from a tough community, Just seeing kids every day. It's a small town. Everyone knows each other. Just to build a facility here, mentor kids, and if another option comes up, opportunity, I might, we'll see how it works. But I just love being at peace and and just relaxing and just taking every day at a time, raising my children, working with kids who haven't had fathers in their life, or haven't had help in any way, and just being able to use my name and what I've done to help these children.
Great story. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
It's dope. It's awesome. Every day is great. It's just like getting back on the court.
Yep. We will see you at the game later on today.
Absolutely.
Good.
I'm
Good.
looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
What's Duke's record?
Dougie,
What's that?
Duke's record. Little
This year,
ski.
they're like 500, 8
No,
maybe.
they're a little bit better
Trash.
than that.
Trash.
And they're still good no matter what. They're
You know,
always
you
gonna be
notice
good.
when Sean talks about his shot, he remembers every detail. I had to get McLeod out of there, and then I'd go left, and I saw him. I got him out of there, and then I leaned this way and did it. I just shot it. Like I couldn't have the time to think about all these things.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's good to be special, Mark.
Right.
We
Oh,
call
yeah,
him
no
the
question.
GOAT.
No, absolutely.
I
It really is.
appreciate you.
It really is, right? And your name's known forever.
Our
Across
era,
the-
we call him
nationally.
Ted Jeffrey started. They call him
Nationally, it's
the GOAT.
amazing.
He's
You
the
walk
GOAT.
around, you could be somewhere else, someone mention your name and be like, I knew you before I met you, right? Because you're walking around New York City. And again, New York City, the mecca of basketball, doesn't give anybody love, right? You got to really earn it there. So you must have done your thing at
Especially
ISC.
from Philly.
We used to come in there and they used to be hating on us so crazy. And then I forgot
I'm
the
going to get
dude's name on the
defensive.
mic.
Take it easy.
No, it was, they bring your name, not your game. They would always say that. And we used to play so hard. Wayne Ellington, Gerald Henderson, Kyle Lowry, J.R. Smith. We go in there and we get the championship. I wish I had that picture. We have a picture of me, Kyle, and Gerald. I got MVP. J.R. got MVP of the championship game, and Kyle got like most improved player, whatever. We had the 3 big trophies, and we took a picture in there. And I got to ask Jimmy Thomas if he has that picture, but we went in there and it did work.
That had
For
to be a
sure.
special team.
It was fun.
ISC was real.
It was really fun.
really
Randy
was.
Ayers, I'm Ryan Ayers, Randy Ayers' son. It was a good time. And that's when basketball was pure. Like we went to play, we played hard. We did everything we needed to do to get wins. You know what I'm saying? Like,
But we're going to save that for another conversation. 'Cause
Yeah.
I really want to talk about that in more
It was
detail.
good.
Like
It was dope.
how that's changed so much.
Yeah.
And with the EYBL and the sneaker circuit and YouTube and ESPN, how much that's changed again too.
Right.
We got to keep the show rolling.
Cool.
We're going to bring on Anna and John Schick
I appreciate you.
right now. And we're going to kick it to T-Dubs really quickly. Right? For
Testing,
another
testing,
announcement.
testing.
Little Ski, can you put us on hold really quickly online?
That's Sushi
And
was banging.
Sean, thanks so much for coming through.
Thank you.
Sushi was
Appreciate you
banging.
having me.
Congrats.
What- Once again, thank you to Sean for stopping by. Another ACC Yeah, we'll be back on shortly. We've got Grant Kersey coming up. Anna's in the house. We're always happy to see them. We'll kick it to Mark shortly.
We're good? We're all set? Live? All right, we're back. Thanks so much for joining us, everybody. We are live from the dairy market. Thanks so much to the Milkman's Bar for providing us the space. Addison, wherever you are, Eleanor, you guys are great. Thank you. We are joined today right now. Grew up in the area. You went to UVA. Oh, you grew up all around the country as a military person.
I did.
Went to UVA, grad of
83.
83. And we were talking the other day, and you started talking about farm and cows, and I'm like, I don't understand that. I'm from New York City.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of crazy stuff going on. Yeah, we work the family farm and teach school, and Anna hangs out, does some work around. So, yeah.
Do you feed the cows? Do you milk the cows?
No milk in the beef cows, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's how much I know about, right? From New York City, right? But how did you become, how did you become a big basketball fan?
Well, I love playing basketball with Ty. Uh-huh.
And how old are you now, sweetie?
20.
And so you've been a fan. Were you a fan before you were 13? So you started going to games when?
Going way back.
Way back.
So like 5, 6, 7, something like that?
Yes.
First game you went to was, do you remember, John?
I do not. I don't. I remember we were on the waiting list for tickets for a long time. And I said, just get us in the building.
Yeah.
And we'll worry about getting better seats as we go. So we're start out way up here. But we've always had access to tickets one way or another. And she grew up watching basketball. So she, Simba, Malcolm, Isaiah, all those guys took her under their wing and paid attention to her and stuff.
Oh,
and then it got really special, obviously, in 2016.
Yeah. No, I know. And one of the stations did a story on you and Ty.
Yes.
That really, really touched my heart. I mean, my grandmother started a school years ago before I was born in Chicago for autistic kids. I worked with developmentally disabled kids. And I saw Ty do that story with you. And I was really proud of my kid. And it was just so lovely watching your interaction between the two of you. How did that happen?
Well, I don't know exactly, but
You don't remember do you remember how it started?
Do you remember, John? You met him at a football game, right?
At a football game.
And then we went to the Meet the Team Day. And they hit it off, and it kind of went from there, kind of grew from there. And one of the beauties about being friends with Anna is she lives in the moment. She lives in today, and she doesn't care that you're a big-time basketball player. I mean, she just loves you for who you are. I mean, she loves the basketball, too. She loves to watch Ty make those bunnies, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But so she's a huge fan, and she knows every player, knows their numbers, knows their stats, keeps up with everyone. So.
Anna, what do you think of the coach?
I love the coach. I love him so much. I do.
All right, Anna, he's a good-looking guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I got to tell you, when we first, I guess we're on our unofficial visit in 2015, we're walking through downtown, and every girl from 5 to every woman to 80 stopped him. And I was like, oh my goodness, this guy's a rock star.
Oh, yeah.
He's bigger than life. And he is so humble. He's so personable, right? He when he has conversations with you, he's asking you legitimately and authentically about you.
Yeah.
Right? And
absolutely.
What kind of conversations have you had with him? Do you remember at all?
With Coach Bennett?
Yes.
With Coach Bennett?
Yes.
Have you guys talked about your farm? Have you talked about school?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that special team from 19. Did you go to all the home games?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Would you have any favorite moments?
One of my favorite moments that I love to be retired. He doesn't ever happen to me retired life. I love him.
I spoke to him yesterday, and I told him you were going to be on, and he said to make sure I gave you a big hug and said hello to you guys. And when I told him I had you on the show, he's going to be so excited and happy.
Yeah, Ty's got a big game today.
Big game. Yep. Playing the Lakers.
Playing the Lakers.
Yep.
Big game. Yep.
So I get to go to Duke, and then hopefully get to watch my child a little
We're
bit on
going to do
TV.
both.
But,
We're going to do both.
You've seen this team for years. You were here in the early days with Ralph.
Oh,
We
yeah.
had Phil Wund on earlier talking about the involvement of the team, the program. How do you see the game have changed, and how do you see and what difference did it make when going from U-Haul to going to JPJ?
Oh, it's pretty amazing. I mean, we went to the last game in U-Haul and the first game at JPJ, and the evolution of this team through the years and the program and the fan base has just been amazing to watch. I remember when I was a student and you had to go sit in the stands and get your ID card punched and wait, and if they drew your ID card, you got to get a ticket and go to the game.
Oh, wow.
We usually got to see maybe 3 or 4 ACC games a year at U-Haul. It was tough to get a ticket even as a student, but rabid fans all the way through. One thing that's changed, we don't get to get as obnoxious as maybe we used to do. Where I can remember when Lefty Drizel, they gave you a mimeograph sheet with his head on it and a gas gauge pointing to empty, and we all went crazy, things like that. But I'll tell you what, the Who Crew is crazy. They're really wild to watch.
But when you watch college basketball now, right, and you see there's only a few arenas that are old school now in the ACC, right?
Yeah.
You got Virginia Tech, you've got Duke, and maybe Clemson. But there's been a major shift in the way these arenas are built. I don't know if you've been to Louisville. Louisville
No.
Stadium is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. They have bourbon bars. But what
Well,
that
we
does
kind of
is,
we kind of own the Brand Stadium. I mean, the Who's kind of own that place.
oh, it's gorgeous. The stadium's gorgeous. But with that, you sacrifice the college fans being on top of the crowd, right? That's something Duke hasn't done. That's something Virginia Tech hasn't done.
Right.
What do you prefer?
There's advantages to both. I'm glad that when they planned out JPJ, I can't speak to the other new stadiums much, but when they planned out JPJ, they made sure the students were right there on the court.
Yeah.
And I think that was a very smart thing to do because they're the loudest, they're the craziest, but the experience for everybody is awesome. And the people that do the marketing in JPJ do some cool events and great things for the fans to participate in. And the ACC has obviously changed. As an old purist and looking at the old configuration, and I mean it was war, and every game anybody could win, but the ACC today is certainly a top tier.
Yeah,
and the basketball, oh my gosh, I mean the kids that are playing, the athleticism and the way they play, they're just amazing.
You guys have been coming to the game so long. Do you guys have a pregame ritual? You do?
It varies depending on whether it's an early or late game, but yeah. Riverside is right in there.
Yeah.
We could either before or after the game grab a burger at Riverside and we hang out. Sometimes we tailgate a little bit for the game, but we always make sure to get there early enough to watch the warm-ups, watch the starting lineups and stuff. I wish more folks would come in a little earlier and get to see all that as opposed to walking in at the last minute. Hopefully that'll increase and improve as we go.
No, the pregame is awesome now with all the different. I guess you got the jumbotron and whatever they do with to add to the pregame with the. I don't think they do the fire and the cannons and.
Yeah, I haven't seen the fire in a while, but yeah, the experience has gotten to be pretty cool if you're in there early.
Yeah,
it's definitely worth coming early.
Yeah, it's changed tremendously. Big game today.
Absolutely.
Oh, yes.
Always good, right?
There you go.
How are we gonna do today, Anna?
Are they going to do great?
Got a prediction for me? What do you think? How much are we gonna win by?
How much are you gonna win by?
By 100, baby.
I love it. I love it. All right, Anna, thanks so much for joining us, sweetie. Take care.
Love you.
See you, Mark.
All the best. Thank you very
Thank
much
you.
for coming on.
Hey, sweetie. You ready?
Yep.
All right, we're gonna bring on. We're gonna take these off. We got Grant, we got Shane, and we got Big Ski. We got to make sure we get on my man, Big Ski, because we need to talk about his book. We need to talk about NIL with him. But right now, we're gonna bring on Grant Kersey, or are we bringing on Shane Lewski? Let's do them both. Let's do them both. We're time. I know we're going short on time. Gotta get mic'd up there, but Shay, we're gonna mic you up. You're not gonna walk around with the microphone. We don't trust you.
Yeah, I got the hand mic.
We're gonna mic you up.
No, they said I got the hand mic.
Okay, grab a seat then. Are you 21 yet, Shane?
It's a mimosa?
Mimosa.
I don't think I ever had one. Been going already though. Got it.
There you go,
Now,
bro.
why are you injecting Jay Willie with this stuff though? You gotta be locked into that. I've seen him up here. Yeah, we are.
Grant, you want? Good. Glad to hear it. Spence, we on? We're good. Everybody's good. Grant, give me a mic check.
Mike,
oh, awesome.
we
You
good.
on?
Check, check.
All right, we're rolling. We're continue to roll. We've got Grant Kersey. We've got Shane, Shane the Machine. Welcome, guys. Great to have both of you on.
Appreciate it.
You guys have a great history with UVA basketball. You guys have seen them at its highest. You guys have seen them never really low, right? You guys have always been part of a winning culture, which has been tremendous. You guys were part of the championship team.
I said the year before was a little low.
What's that?
The year before was a little low, but
Year before,
the championship.
We won a lot of games that year though.
But,
you,
yeah,
they won a lot of
but-
country. You're still number one in the country,
Yeah.
For sure.
right? But let's talk about that. Let's talk about UMBC, right? What, in your eyes, both of yours, why did we lose that game?
I mean, hey, college basketball is one game variance. I mean, you know how it is. You could lose to anybody. It didn't help that we had, DeAndre out. No excuses though. Obviously, we should have won, but it's just one game variance, and that's just how March is. I mean, you probably got a better, I wasn't here yet, so I mean, you might have better perspective than me.
I was gonna say the same thing. I mean, at that time of the year during March, every game is you are going the same mentality and can't overlook any opponent. I'm not saying we did that, but that just happens sometimes in March.
It's just variance.
Yeah.
You guys have spent a lot of time in the locker room, right? As either managers and you as a manager / player. You guys may be seen as like flies on the wall, but I'm sure you get to absorb a lot of information and you get to see a lot, right, behind the scenes that people aren't privy to. Is there a message you guys have? Because fans, people on message boards, everybody has an opinion, right? And quite frankly, a lot of them aren't. I'm not saying most of them. A lot of them aren't correct, right? Some of them are, right? What do you guys think when you guys see message boards and you guys and someone makes a comment or has an opinion like that is so wrong?
I think a big thing is like you see like fans saying we should be playing this guy, we shouldn't be playing this guy, and I'm just sitting there thinking like, how do you know better than the people that have been with them in practice since all throughout summer? I think a big thing was Kihe's first year. I think he was they're like, oh, we got like this freshman, like short point guard. Why are we playing him so much? But then us who see him in practice every day, we see him causing tie fits, like picking him up full court, kind of not like getting in his head, but like frustrating him a little bit. So Coach Bennett sees that. It's like, oh, we should be playing this guy more. But then he has one bad game. The fans are like, you're writing him off. Like, why are we playing this guy? It's like, well, I mean, because he put in the work all summer. Like, we've seen him all summer, months and months and months. Like, so I think, like, it's just kind of foolish that, like, they think they know better than the people. I mean, it's good that everyone has an opinion. You want passionate fans. But you also, got to trust the people who are there every single day, see it every practice.
Because without those fans, college basketball is not as big as it is, right? It's not on ESPN every night. Yeah. It's not on local.
TV coverage, media is not covering it the way it is. ESPN is not having its shows.
Yeah.
Right. And it's bringing so many fans. And by the way, the players who you're talking about aren't as well known.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
At the same time, I had the same reaction to you. Like, were you at practice the other day? How do you, I'm amazed that you know that.
That's what I'm saying.
It's incredible.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then I go to you, Grant. Who, by the way, you still have the record for the best shooter in college basketball, right?
It's only a couple shots. It's only a couple shots.
Remarkable that you own a record, right? So you're going to go down the history books forever.
Maybe. We'll see.
Well, not maybe. No one can beat
Somebody
that record.
can do it again.
Nobody can beat that record, Grant.
They can tie it, though.
They can tie it.
They can
Yes,
tie it, yeah.
absolutely. They can tie it. And there may be people that tied it that we're not aware of. But no one's ever going to beat that record. So something you're going to always hold. What was it like playing on the green team in 2019?
Oh, it was
So the green team being the scout
the
team.
scout team, right? No, it's amazing. I loved it. Just being able to.
Who were you playing with?
The guys who was on that green team,
It would
18,
have been
19.
you,
Me, Austin,
Frankie,
Frankie,
Francisco,
his redshirt year. Who was the guard?
J Nix.
And
J
Jaden,
Nix.
yeah.
That was kind of yeah.
So we had a good green team, and it was amazing. Like we would go meet with whoever was doing the scout, whether it's Coach Sodi, Jay Willie, Coach O. We'll meet with them when the guys weren't filmed before practice and kind of go over the offensive plays that we needed to run and the sets that we needed to run, and then just try to execute them as well as we could to try to get the guys ready for games. But for me, it was cool to kind of just feel like I was helping out in that way to try to get the guys ready to go to the game and hopefully get a win.
Was there a time when you were like, man, I don't want to be a manager anymore. I just want to be on the team?
No, never. I was so fortunate and so grateful that every day I could come to JPJ and just do my role and try to do it the best I could and just serve the program and hold some value and then just try to enjoy it while it was there.
Yeah, and you were manager, you get to be around me, So
Well, how can we ever forget Shane? You guys are around so many high-level players and guys playing professional. That must have been an incredible, amazing experience, right? This is the highest level it gets to. And you're a Charlottesville legend, and you come here. Do you think people were saying to you, oh, man, you're on the team. This is great. You're going to get playing time? Or did they understand your role? And how much did you understand your role?
I think it was a little bit of both, but I understood, definitely understood. I mean, I was fortunate enough to have a role that was more than anything I thought it ever would be. Being a manager was just amazing, and then being able to dress was icing on the cake. It's definitely some of both, but I mean, I think all of it was a form of support, and that was the coolest thing for me because I never thought I would be in that role, I guess, to where people are like, oh, good game last night, like good minutes. Like that was cool for me because I never thought I would have that opportunity.
What was the process for you like joining as a manager, Shane?
Well, my older brother was a manager, so I would visit when I was in high school and he was a manager. I'd visit, and I got cool with like Ronnie and the staff and all that. So when I came, it was kind of like already written, like, this is what I'm going to end up doing. I mean, that's kind of a reason I came here too. I mean, the school's great too, but I was like, to be a part of that, like, hard to beat that. So it was good to get that experience when I was in high school. And I mean, that's an opportunity that a lot of people don't have. Like, I'm a 16-year-old kid, and I'm showing up, and funny story, I remember my first day here. It was before a game against Notre Dame. I was a sophomore in high school. I was 15 at the time. I'm just shooting around in the practice room before the game. And Malcolm Brogdon, he walks in, and he walks up to me. He's like, can I use this hoop? And I'm like, yo, like, you're Malcolm Brogdon. You don't got to ask me if you can use this. But you could kick me outside, and I would do that. You know what I mean? So, and then, like, just stuff. But even, like, that kind of set the tone, though, where it's like, he wasn't, like, mean to me. He's like, kind of like, what's this kid doing? Like, he, like, politely asked me. He's like, is it okay if I use this hoop? Like, so that was my first experience, like, literally. And I was like, wow. Like, everybody's like, I'm just some random kid. This guy's really respectful to me. So that kind of set the tone then. And then the rest of the way, everyone's just been the same way, super nice and all that. But
what were your responsibilities as a manager while you were here? And what was your favorite thing and what was your least favorite thing?
Oh, my God. I mean, it's a lot of rebounding. There's a lot of rebounding.
Rebounding when? Like, guys could call you up anytime, like midnight, and be like, Shane, come, I need you to rebound for me?
They could. I mean, we went to the gym last night at like, what, 10 was it?
Yeah, like 11.
And manager Wayne was rebounding for Ryan Dunn. So, like, stuff like that. And so it's like it's cool at first, but then it eventually just becomes like a grind, you know. And it's like, and I know Wayne specifically, he's rebounding for Reese, Caden, like Ryan before every night before games. So it's a grind. Like, so I mean, the rebounding's the main thing. We're just utility people at the end of the day. Like anything you need, you know, we'll do it. Like Coach Bennett, Ronnie, anybody needs anything, you know, Jay Willie you need to pick up a recruit from the airport. We're doing it, you know. So it's.
Was there anything that you did not like doing?
See, I got something in mind. I don't know if I want to say it though.
Go ahead, Shay. Come on, go ahead.
Going to Boston College. Going to the road trip to Boston College. Like they're usually not that good. The crowd's kind of weak. It's super cold in January. Like the whole trip, and it's like a long flight. It's just the whole thing. That's just the first thing that comes to mind. Most road trips are good, and obviously, like it's better. You know, you're still going to a high level college basketball game in school, but like. You know, if you're going to Duke one weekend and the next weekend you're going to Boston College, it's kind of a buzzkill. But so that's the first thing I'd say.
That's funny because that's actually how I would kind of describe it too. Right, Boston College is kind of dreary, and just drab, but it's still like you get to experience
exactly
UVA playing
I
on the
respect
road.
Boston College. You know,
Still an ACC road game.
You still an ACC school, Boston College. You know, you get a couple more wins.
All right. If you're not playing in the NBA, if you're not continuing to play in college, you're kind of living a dream, Grant. Like you just came off of a European tour, visiting all your fellow boys, playing professionally overseas, some of them at the highest level, getting to hang out with them, watch them, talk to them. Describe the tour that you just went on.
You know, I was really fortunate to have the opportunity to travel in. Like you said earlier, like there's so many guys from UVA that are playing high-level basketball in the States, also around the world. So it was really cool to travel and reconnect and see them and like see their way of life outside of Charlottesville. Because I know them so well here, being at school and workouts and practices and games, but to see their professional life and the games that overseas and in their respective countries was really cool.
All right, take us on the tour. Who'd you see? Which cities did you stop in? You left what day?
So I left January 5th.
Okay.
Landed in Auckland, New Zealand, January 7th with Jack Salt. And then we both went to Brisbane, Australia together. And we saw Cody Statman play with the Brisbane Bullets, which is the team Jack played for last year. And then from there.
Well, wait, hold on. Give us a little update on Cody.
Cody's doing well. He's doing good. Their team's doing pretty well. He's in a good spot.
Is he getting playing time?
He plays a little bit. So the way their season works is their G League runs offset to their regular season. So NBL is now, and then NBL 1 is their G League. So that runs in their off season.
Okay.
So he's on a roster spot now, and then he'll play NBL 1 and hopefully have a good NBL and then figure out. He's on a 1-year contract now, so they'll figure out.
That's a pretty competitive league, though.
Yeah, still really good
I
basketball.
think the kid Justin, what's his name from Virginia Tech playing there?
Robinson.
I think he's playing there, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
He is, yeah.
Brady Manick's there. I know Brady Manick's
Brady
down
Manick is there.
He's hooping, I think, too.
Yeah, he's playing really well. Yeah. Cody's on the team with Tyler Johnson, who was in Phoenix with Ty. He was in Miami. So he's with him on the same team.
That's Ty's guy.
Yeah,
Tyler Johnson.
All right, so from there you go to
Australia, went to Spain, saw Paul Jorgensen. Wasn't able to see one of his
Paul
games.
Jorgensen is
Butler, right.
But he was at George Washington.
Yeah, right.
He grew up like he and Ty playing the same AU team as a year
so
older head Ty.
He worked out with Ty this past summer for like a week, so that's how I met him this past summer.
That's how you got to meet him?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they were in New York working out. Yeah. So wasn't able to see one of his games, but got in the gym with him, helped him. He had a workout, and then he had a good game next game. So
he wanted
gave
you
me
to
a
stay.
little credit. Yeah.
Did he give you some
He
gear?
wanted me to come back. Yeah, he did.
Okay.
He looked out. And then from there went to see Thomas, won the Tensai. Went to Italy to see Thomas.
What part of Italy?
He's in Varese, so it's about 45 minutes north of Milan. And went to his game. He's teammates with Tariq Owens, who was on the Texas Tech team.
Yep.
That's the game. I forget what pregame UVA game it was, but when I called in from the gym, that was at Thomas's game.
Yep.
How
long were you there?
They won that game. I was there for about 4 days, and then left and came back for like 2 more days. So like 5-6 days total.
So you liked Italy?
Yeah, Italy's nice.
How is Thomas doing?
He's doing well. He's in first league, Italian league, so he's in a really good spot, a really good situation. Their coach was an NBA coach. He was the Rockets G League coach. So they play like NBA style basketball, kind of transition, not a lot of mid-range threes or kind of at the rim. So it's a little different than European style, but kind of fits Thomas because he likes to shoot. So
How many minutes a game is Thomas playing?
he plays like 25, 30 minutes a game.
Great.
So yeah, he's in a good spot, a good situation. He's got a pretty good green light, so he gets his shots up. So he's doing well.
Okay.
And then from there, went to Istanbul, Turkey to see Carson Edwards. He's playing EuroLeague there.
Let's go
with
back. Hold on. Let's
Fenerbahce.
talk about the Carson Edwards relationship. Everybody knows Carson Edwards from being from Purdue, and,
obviously, right.
and just having this incredible game, one of the most incredible performances I've ever
That's the
seen.
best performance I've ever seen.
Best one,
Considering
for
the
sure.
stakes and the defense, the guy DeAndre and Kihei, that's who he was doing it against. Best college performance I've ever seen.
For sure.
So, and how did you get to meet Carson?
So he has the same age, or used to be the same agent as Ty. So him and Ty got close during pre-draft, and then I've just seen him from being with Ty throughout the NBA season, and throughout some of the offseason. They've worked out some together when I was there, and then when they played in the same cities, we'll go get dinner together and stuff like that. So I got to know him, and then it just worked out where his game lined up with the UVA guys' games, and I could make the trip out there to see him. So saw a game in Turkey, which was really cool. They have that's one thing. The crowds out there are amazing. Like
They'd be like lighting up flares and like there'd be like fires in the
flares
crowd.
the arena. I didn't see any flares, but they said some arenas do
They'd be
have
like
that
singing
happen
songs.
sometimes. Chanting, singing songs the entire game like a soccer game.
They have the drums
They're
out.
loud drums. Yeah, every drums
Wow.
while their own team is shooting free throws. It's crazy, but it's a really good atmosphere. It's loud the entire game. The fans are invested. They're in the game. It's almost like college basketball games. Like it's very similar to college basketball games and how the students are really into it. They have really like loyal fan bases, and then that leads into this other story. So once I left Turkey, I went back to Italy to see Devin Hall play, and they played this team called Red Star, and they had police outside the arenas. If you were a Milan fan or a Red Star fan, you had to go in different entrances, and then after the game, they would shut down. They would let all the Milan fans leave and hold the Red Star fans in the arena.
Wow.
And then they would shut down. There was a bridge that would go across the road. It connected the arena to like the subway station. And they had police marking it off. And they had their own subway train. So it was only their fans to get out of the arena to go back to where they were.
Where's Red Star from?
I think they're in Serbia.
Okay.
I believe.
So do you know what the basis of the rivalry is and what the genesis of it?
I think it's just happened over time. They're just known to be like the best fan base out there. Like they travel really well. So like behind their basket, it was just a whole wall of their fans chanting the whole game. Halfway through, all the guys took their shirts off. Like it was nuts. But they're just like a really loyal fan base, and they travel really well. And they're just notoriously.
How's Dev doing? He's
doing well. Their team is struggling a little bit this year in EuroLeague, but Dev is playing really well. He's playing well.
I was showing my little 2-year-old monster highlights. He happens to like basketball a little bit when he can sit still for more than 13 seconds. And I'm showing him highlights of Jason Williams. And then he's like, no, I want to see Ty. So we went to a Ty highlight. And then following that highlight, the game against West Virginia came on YouTube.
Kyle went crazy that game.
Kyle went
at West Virginia, right? Second half, he went crazy.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
Incredible performance, right? Kyle just, I didn't remember that. Actually, I was at a Knicks game that day, so I couldn't even see the game. But I was watching Devin Hall, rewatching him. He was really, really, really good. Defensively, offensively.
Both sides of the ball.
He was so good.
And they play in the Italian league as well, so they'll match up against Thomas's team some, but Devin plays, they have so many games, like 2 or 3 games a week, so it's nonstop.
I remember listening to, Mark Titus?
Yeah, Titus.
We've
had him on the show.
Yeah, I remember I listened to his podcast that was my senior high school, Dev's last year. And I remember Kyle and Ty were kind of like the almost like bigger names for the team. And I remember Titus was like, and no knock on Kyle or Ty, obviously, but Titus was like, real UVA fans know that Devin Hall is probably the most important player to that team. Like you said, playing both sides of the ball, everything, he could score it, drive it, create, play defense, all that. Super underrated college player, super underrated.
Very. And I sent him a text after watching that game. And of course he responded, the nicest text. I just told him how good of a player he was and how important he was to my kid's development. I'm sure everybody else, and how good of a leader he was. I forgot to tell him he needs to brush up on his card playing because he's an awful, awful card player. I don't know if you guys had a chance to play cards with him.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I probably played 100 hours of cards. Me, him, and Ty, we
Yeah.
probably logged about 100 hours of cards.
All right, but he's an incredible
I
kid.
hope people know too. Like top 5, like funniest guy I've ever met.
Devin
Like
Hall.
hilarious. Like you would not believe how funny. Like
and like a
hilarious.
quiet,
Yes,
funny.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Like
right, reserved,
like
quiet, and
just
just like.
he's literally like brought me to tears sometimes how funny he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so was that the last trip? That part of your trip?
I went from there to Spain. So I got to Spain, Barcelona on Friday, back to Spain. Barcelona Friday, watched Kyle play Saturday. Mike
Shane, you
Toby
know this
play
is not
Sunday.
water, right?
Mike Toby played Sunday and then flew home Monday.
And how was Mike doing?
He's doing well. He plays for FC Barcelona, which Madrid and Barcelona are like the two biggest teams over there. Once you kind of get that tag, like once you play for them, you're pretty in a good situation.
Well, he
from there.
got to play alongside Luka in the Olympics,
Right, which was really cool. Yeah,
right, for Slovenia,
Mhm.
right, and did well.
yeah, he did really well. Like there was rumors of him coming back to the NBA. Dallas
Yeah, right.
fans wanted him to come back and play with Luka in the regular season, but
NBA,
he's doing really well
and
over
this
there.
is for we maybe talk about. I'll just get your opinion really quickly. Is it harder to make the NBA or harder to stay in the NBA? I guess. I mean, I guess it's harder to make it, right? When you look at the numbers, because it's impossible to make.
I was gonna
But
say,
it's so hard to stay in it.
it's
Like you talk
very
about
hard.
Carson Edwards.
Yeah. I don't want to
that's
knock
a great
on.
example.
I don't want to pick one and not have a knock on any player just because obviously hard work and I see what guys put in to get there. But they do say like the second contract is like the most important one to get. So I think that it hints at maybe harder to stay in. Obviously, it's hard to get to the NBA, but that second contract is pretty important.
Yep. Shane, I want to come to you really quickly because, and I'm going to let you guys go because I know you guys want to get to the arena. There's been talk from people about your knowledge of the game, right?
I know a thing or two.
Do you have inspiration? Are you motivated to coach at all?
Coach, not necessarily. I kind of enjoy just being like. I mean, my 4 years here obviously were great, but I would kind of get like FOMO on like a Saturday if we got a home game and I'm doing stuff all day and I'm missing all the other games. The whole time I'm kind of in my head, I'm like, like I'm missing every. I mean, it's cool, obviously, right? I get a courtside seat to this game. I'm grateful, right? But in my head, I'm like, I'm also missing Creighton, UConn, or something. You know what I mean?
He's itching right now to get to the 1 o'clock
But
tip-off game.
now that I've
started.
graduated, though, I'm kind of like, I almost kind of like where I'm at, where it's like just being a fan and whatnot. Like I'm not doing pregame stuff right. Like I'm here right now, just kicking it, while other people, are rebounding and whatnot. And so I kind of like just sitting back, just being a fan and being able to consume everything, but also, being a fan of UVA in the process.
But there are rumors you are so passionate about this game.
I would die
and you
for this
just
game.
watch it all. Like you have 8 TVs.
5 TVs
but-
in my basement.
So like agents sit around and they'll watch so many different games at the same time. They'll watch each player they have. That's kind of what I thought of when someone told me Shane's watching multiple games at the same time.
Oh yeah,
that's how much you love it.
Oh, I would
No,
die for this game.
He's locked in. Like there's some games I know if I need something, if I need to ask him a question, I have to wait till halftime to call him because he's not going to answer.
Yeah.
Even
But look-
halftime is a chance, and then as soon as second half starts, he's like, "All right, I gotta
Yeah,
go."
sometimes like people will call me at like 3 p.m. on a Saturday. I'm like, why are you calling me? Like Kansas is playing Oklahoma right now on the main TV, and then we got Providence, Marquette on the second TV. Like, why would you call me? Like, I gotta lock in.
In your 4 years here, what was your best team? What was your favorite team and why?
Nah, this is actually funny you asked this because I was literally talking about this yesterday. So, easy answer is 18-19. We win the national championship, whatnot. But it was kind of like every home game. I mean, every game pretty much. We show up, we're like, all right, we're gonna win. Except Duke, Duke, UNC, they're kind of coin flips. But every other game, we're like showing up expecting to win. Like Pitt, like all right, we'll beat Pitt. This, that. I say the most fun though was 1920 because we started off poorly, and I remember there was even NIT talk, like, oh, we might be NIT. And in February, it's like, I don't know what got into us, but we went. I think we finished 11-1 down the stretch, and like we beat 3 top 10 teams at home: Florida State, Louisville, and Duke. And like each game, like we didn't show up like. I mean, we obviously wanted to win it, but it was still like a 50-50 proposition. and we just got it out every win, and we're like winning all these games. It was like we were on like cloud nine. We're like, I mean, we were a good team, but we weren't as good as 18-19. But like, I mean, at the end of the year, we were playing like, I mean, we went 11-1 down the stretch, and Tom is scoring like 30 a game. Like he had 30 against Louisville, 30 against Wake. Like, so I'd say like 18-19 is the easy answer, but February for 19-20 was like unlike anything I've ever seen. It sucks that the season ended the way it did with the big C and all that. But I mean that month though specifically was like, I don't think I ever had that much fun in my life.
Last question for you. What do you think of this year's team, and how far will they go?
So I think this year's team, I think if you compare it to 18-19, you know, I respect this team greatly. Those are all my brothers. I think 18-19 would, you know, handle this team pretty comfortably. But I also think the level of play in college basketball this year isn't as good as 18-19. I mean, 18-19 was like ridiculous. So I think we still not as good of a chance of winning all as 18-19, but I think we still definitely have it. I mean, we're like a top 10, you know, contender. I do think for us to reach our ceiling, we need, and I've been telling people this, I think Caden is kind of like the wild card. I mean, we're starting small, Ben, JG, and we've been winning that way. But I think, and I like both those, they're both great players. I think to reach our ceiling, we're going to need Caden because, I mean, UVA, we need a big guy who can blow up ball screens, protect the rim, play defense. So I think I think we could go far if Caden kind of, you know, if we trust him more and he plays the way we know he can play it.
There has to be some balance at some point with some interior offense and defense. There has to be.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know if there's ever been a team that hasn't had some kind of interior presence.
Yeah. So I think he's kind of the wild card. But I mean, the Vegas tournament, I know it was a long time ago, but I've been a big Baylor guy this year. I think Baylor is like one of the best teams in the country. I mean, we played them in Vegas. I remember before that game, I was like, you know, I don't know how we're going to do this game. I mean, we kind of kicked their teeth in. I mean, we beat them by like 15. So that game kind of opened my eyes. Like, if we can beat Baylor handily, I mean, that's like kind of the cream of the crop. I mean, even the Houston game we lost, but like, I mean, we're playing them neck and neck the whole way. And they're number one in the country right now. Or I think so, right? Number two, number one. Yeah. So I think, like, I like our chances. I think Caden's the X factor, wild card, but I like our chances. And I'll be there every step. Not the first or second round because I got my 4 TVs in the basement I got to be locked in for, but Sweet 16 and beyond, I'm there. I'm tuned in. I'm going to see you in Vegas, Sweet 16.
Every time I say last question, I always, of course, think of 3 or 4 more questions. This is
forever.
definitely going to be the last question because I want to get my man Ed Dunn on, Ryan Dunn's dad, if he's still here, hopefully. I see him back there. And then we got to get Big Ski on. The offense that we're running. We're not running blocker mover nearly as much. And we're running a different style of offense, right? What's that offense called? It's like a floating offense with a lot of movement.
Like a flow, like step up ball screens.
With the 2 guys in the wings, not with much movement, right? They're kind of stationary.
Yeah.
And a lot of actions happening in the middle in the foul lane.
Oh, you're talking about like 3 game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
3 game offense.
That was like we want to get DeAndre the ball back 3 game. Get DeAndre the ball
instead of blocker mover.
Yep.
Right. What do you guys think of that offense?
Well, I remember when you know after me, but I remember when I was in high school, and my brother was a manager, I'd be texting him. I'm like, what's this off? Why are we running this offense? We have all this talent. Let's let's spice it up a little bit. And
so you were being one of those guys that we talked about earlier on the forums who make comments, right? Yeah.
A little bit.
Who wasn't at practice, right? Who didn't know the talent, but who knew the offense better. Right.
Exactly. And I think the UMBC loss obviously was a bad, you know, never want to lose that kind of game. But it kind of woke Coach Bennett up to kind of modernize the offense a little bit. You saw that the year we won it all. Like we were on a flow. I remember we kind of modernized it. So I think Coach Bennett's done a great, and that's the sign of a good coach. A coach is willing to adjust. Yep. So I think he's done great the past couple of years, like coaching to his personnel. I think that's what he's doing with this new offense. Like we have different guys who can play kind of inside out, and you know Ben, JG. And so I think it's great that he's willing to be versatile, and he doesn't just stay in his ways. He's like, all right, I'm going to coach to my personnel. So, and I mean, we've been really good offensively. I mean, I think we're top 20 Ken Palm. So, like, I mean, what's that?
Ken Palm. Get a bell.
Yeah. So, I mean, we keep scoring 70 plus a game.
Thank you, Eleanor, for the cowbell.
In place of my bell, every time Dougie Fresh comes on and curses, he gets the bell. Or if somebody says a catchphrase like Ken Palm, they get the bell too.
My bad.
No, you didn't know. That's okay. All right, guys, we got to keep it rolling. We got 2 more guests we got to get to, and we're running so late. Thanks so much for the update.
Thank you.
Keep living the dream that we all envy you of, right? Do stay in coaching. Stay. You have so much to offer.
I got things in the works.
Okay, good. Are you still running Team Jerome Select back home, by the way?
We were talking about that last night. We got that. Yeah, we got it cooking.
Right. Later on, we're going to talk about personally how you fund that. We won't talk about it. We don't want to talk about that in public, right? All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Go Who's, Bucks and 6.
Appreciate it.
Sorry, Big Smooth.
Pleasure. Thanks for saying hello. Hopefully I'll see you at the game. All right, folks, we're going to continue rolling with the show. We are welcoming my man from New York, Ed Dunn, father of Ryan Dunn. We met via phone like 6 years ago, something like that, when you were going to bring Ryan to one of my workouts.
Yep.
Through, by the way, Barbara Foster's kid, Miles Foster.
Oh, and Foster, Miles Foster.
Who's
yes.
playing, plays at Monmouth.
Yes.
Monmouth's best player.
Yep.
Right? Who came against UVA early in the year and had a solid game.
Yep.
Right? We met through there and we started talking. He said, "I want to bring my son down," and whatever happened, I think a couple of things happened and he ended up not coming. But we stayed in touch.
Right.
And then next thing I hear, Ryan's at Perkiomen Prep School in Pennsylvania.
Correct.
He's about to room with a kid I coached in high school, Crazy Sam Pullman.
There you go.
And I'm hearing like Ryan's blowing up and UVA's recruiting him.
Right.
And I was so ecstatic for you. And first time we talked, we just hit it off. We talked for a long time. We talked about your older son. We talked about Ty. You gave me some advice. And then we started talking about Ryan. And then years later, Ryan's being recruited. And it's like, whoa, he's blowing up, right? And at the time, Ryan's senior year, he was a young senior.
Yes.
And at some point, you guys had a couple offers, right? I think it was Oklahoma or Texas.
When he was at Lehigh?
Yeah.
When he was at Lehigh, he had received maybe one or two offers from like local schools.
Okay.
Because because of the pandemic, they only played 3 games.
Right.
So he really only had 3 games as a starter. Nobody really had seen him from his junior into his senior year. And then the senior year, he only had three games for him to play. So Stony Brook and Hofstra, but local teams were about it. And at that time, we enrolled in Perkiomen and went into the summer season. And that's when everything started to happen for him.
Ryan playing basketball and having success, and doing incredibly well. When we first spoke, he was like 5'10" or 5'9".
Yeah.
And I guess he kept growing. I'm not sure. How tall are you?
I'm 6'3".
Okay, and mom?
Mom's about 5'4". Where's it come from? We got to ask her that question. I don't know.
All right. But you're used to success, right?
Yes.
Your older son playing professional baseball.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Right? Baseball, some people say, is the hardest thing to hit, but he's a pitcher.
Yes, he is.
Right? And he's been doing it now for...
This is year number 4 with the Cincinnati Reds.
And where did he go to? Did he go to college?
He went to Boston College.
Brooklyn College.
Boston College.
Okay.
BC.
And played there.
Yeah.
And you still sent your kid Ryan to UVA, so we're happy about that.
Yes,
right?
even though I did walk him into BC earlier, but then later on we let Ryan make the decision, and Ryan made the choice.
Well, we're certainly grateful for that.
Yeah.
And your older guy is doing well now?
Doing really well. Yeah, he's just coming off injury last year. So this is his first year. We think he's going to be fully healthy. Knock on for Michael Wood.
Whatever.
And he's excited. We're really excited for him.
And pitchers and catchers have just reported?
They're going to report next week.
Okay.
But he's been in Arizona. He's been training for a while.
Right. And when are you going down?
I'm hopefully going to go in March. I've been asking him when I can come, and he's telling me wait until they start pitching.
Okay.
So.
All right. So it's not like, wait, stay out of my business.
Well, it is a little stay out of business, but I'm still going in March to go see him pitch.
I'm the dad.
Yeah.
You can listen to me, right? Sometimes I got to do the same thing with my kids, right?
Correct.
Right? So what was the decision, and how did the process happen with UVA?
Well, like I said before, I walked Ryan up to BC because Justin went to BC. I thought, hey, we can just send another one there. It's in the ACC.
At what point was that, though?
That was in his senior year. That was before
at high school.
At
Lehigh.
At Lehigh.
Before he went to boarding school at Perkiomen.
Well, really what had happened is I had called the head coach at BC baseball, Mike Gambino, and told Mike several times. I said, Mike, I'm not sure yet, but I think we might have another one. Ryan's a late bloomer. So when I thought, okay, yeah, I think he can play at that level, I called Mike. Mike then spoke to the new head coach at that time, Earl Grant, told him about Ryan. Earl needed to see him play, had never seen him play before, and really didn't know me, so couldn't take my word, didn't know Mike, couldn't take his word. So luckily, he kind of said, let's wait, let's see, we'll wait and see if he can get on the summer circuit. At that point, Ryan didn't really want to follow in his brother's footsteps. So when we got into the summer circuit, once we got with Perkiomen, and we went to a showcase event there, and then all of a sudden the door started opening up. Then we got onto the summer circuit with the Jayhawks and played on the Adidas circuit. That's when things really started to open
AAU
up.
team Jayhawks out of New York.
Yeah, out of New York. And we started receiving multiple offers from high majors. And then Phil Donahue from Penn University?
Yep.
Saw Ryan, tried to recruit him. We spoke, but he saw all the other offers that we were receiving, and then he finally said, hey, let me call Tony on this one. And then Tony came to the last session that we had in Jersey. I think it was the hoop group session. And I saw him there. I spoke to Tony, and he asked me, would you be okay with him redshirting? I said, Tony, whatever you suggest, I'll be open to it. So then he looked at him. That's where it went from there. Started the process, and here we are.
Didn't redshirt.
Did not redshirt. Very surprisingly, he did not redshirt, but he worked hard.
Going in, though, the plan was for Ryan to
We
redshirt.
thought he was going to redshirt. We thought he was going to redshirt, but he worked really, really hard on his body.
How open was Ryan to hearing, like, I'm going to redshirt before he got there? And as a dad, how open were you?
I was open to it. I'm not going to second guess the decision of this coach, right? And he's done a lot for a lot of players and developed a lot of players. And I've heard such good things about what happens to kids at redshirt.
Right.
So I was open to it. And if the ultimate goal is to get to the next level, whatever it takes.
You look at some of the red shirts that he's had here.
He's had some pretty good ones.
Malcolm Brogdon.
Yep.
Superstar NBA player.
Yep.
Right. DeAndre Hunter.
Correct.
Superstar NBA player.
There you
Room with my kid. That wasn't nearly as smooth, by the way.
Oh, no?
No. No. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Right. Devin Hall, who before the first game on the layup line was told, you're going to redshirt.
No.
Right. Devin Hall is devastated.
Right.
But I was just talking about it earlier. What a career.
Yes.
And he probably wouldn't be where he is now
without doing that.
Playing so well, right? And I mentioned earlier, I was watching a game the other day, West Virginia playing Virginia.
Right.
And watching Devin Hall, how good he was, right? Amazing career. And now doing incredibly well overseas in Italy.
Yeah.
Right. So the plans to redshirt, at what point does Tony Bennett say to Ryan, you know what? We've had to change your heart and change your mind. You're going to be on the roster.
You know, I honestly don't know when that conversation occurred because we didn't really know. We didn't know whether he was going to redshirt or not until we received a letter basically saying, oh, this was when he got the scholarship. We got a letter saying that he received the scholarship. And then really right
wait, let's go back a second.
Go ahead.
Let's go back. So he was coming to school.
Yeah. Under the guise of he was going to walk on.
Okay.
Because
so you guys were coming out of pocket?
Yeah, well, his brother was coming out of pocket. That's what was going to happen.
I get it. Yeah.
Well, what had happened was I had made the decision for his older brother to go to Boston College. He didn't really go through the whole recruitment process. His high school coach and I had spoken. Mike had heard about him. Mike Gambino, head coach at BC, had heard about him. And then I said, okay, he's in the ACC, box check. Coach, my head coach at the high school loved him. So we said, let's go ahead. So Justin at that point in time told Ryan, don't let dad make the decision for you. Go through the process. Go to the different schools. So when Tony had called, I was at that point ready to say, take him.
So wait a minute. You had scholarship offers from high majors.
High majors, yes.
Scholarship name, which including
Minnesota, Clemson, Maryland, Georgetown.
Where he might not have had a red shirt.
Oh, no. There were teams that we didn't have to wait till 23.
Right.
We could have come right out of his senior year and gone in.
Before going to Perkiomen, before doing prep school.
Correct.
Offering full scholarships.
Yes.
And you say, no.
This is where he wants to go.
I'm going to go pay to be a student athlete.
Yep.
To walk on.
Yep.
Pay $65,000, $70,000.
Yep.
Well, I don't know, whatever you guys qualify for, financial aid or whatever, or if you don't. Right. But if it's coming out of his brother, I don't know how that works. To pay to be a walk-on at UVA.
Yep.
Okay.
We knew after talking to Tony, I knew this was the place for him. And he knew this was the place for him. I thought based on his lack of experience, this was great structure. I look at it as a great basketball school.
I need to understand this more, though.
Go ahead.
So, right. So at what point was that?
What point did I make that decision?
So he signed when? He said, I'm going to go to UVA. Not signed because you're a walk-on, so you don't sign.
Right. This was when he was at Perkiomen. This was after we.
So like March, April.
Yeah.
Okay. So he says, so you guys submit a check?
No, we didn't. At that point in time, what Tony had said is, right now we don't have any scholarships available. The season
Right.
is still going on. Let's play it out. Maybe something will open up.
Okay.
If something didn't open up, we were prepared to pay what we needed to pay
Okay.
in order for him to have the first year. And then he basically said, if something's available, we'll give it to him. And if not, next year we'll have something for him. I said, okay.
Okay. All right. So, at what point does he offer a scholarship?
I think as soon as the season was over, a couple of kids made some decisions of whether they were going to come back or not. Before he got here, before he got on campus.
So you get the call and said, okay, we're going to actually offer you a scholarship.
Yeah. We were good to go. Well, he was coming no matter what, so we didn't really.
Right. But you had to be, when you got that call, you had to be.
Well,
like,
his brother had to be relieved. It wasn't coming out of my pocket.
So did Ryan try to get like, my man, since you're not giving me a scholarship, since I'm not, you don't have to pay for it, need to go to school, can I get a car?
No. His brother gave him a car, and we
Okay.
said the car's back at home with us. It's not having a car down here.
All right. So at what point does he go from being red shirt to being, okay, no, we changed our mind, we're going to play?
It was really up until maybe the final 2 weeks before, because when they took the trip out to Italy, they still didn't know at that point in time. Because I was speaking to Coach O and like, what's going on, and like, we don't know, we're going to wait and see. So really, like up until the final week before the season began, is when we found out that he's going to play. He can help.
So you got the call from Ryan.
Yep.
What was the conversation?
It was, I'm playing, and I'm like, okay. We're used to Ryan. What I said to Coach O was this, and I had a conversation with Coach O because we were going back and forth with it. And I said, listen, he's a freshman. As an athlete, freshmen don't normally play. But knowing Ryan's limited amount of playing time, I thought it would be better for him at least to touch the floor, even if it was in garbage time now, as opposed to waiting for next year. So that was my thing was let him play. Even if he doesn't get on the court at all this year, I'm okay with it. We're not going to go crazy and jump ship. If something becomes available, let him get on. But Ryan's always been that way. When you give him an opportunity, he makes the most of it.
So you did a podcast with Justin Anderson.
He did.
Right. I'm sorry. He did.
Okay, yeah.
Right. And I did one with him as well.
Yeah.
And Justin asked him a question about his commitment and his family's commitment to practice, right, and hard work. And Ryan said, my parents would take me everywhere, anywhere there was to go to work out and play. I'm going to go do that. I coach high school, I coach AAU, and I have kids. I have parents that call me up 5 to 10 times a week. They're like, and I think a lot of people identify with Ty, right? As a player, Westchester, New York City, wherever, call me up and say, oh, that kid did it. My kid could do it. And they'll call me up and they'll say, okay, what's the path? What's the formula? And I'll tell them, you have to be in the gym. No matter what, you have to be in the gym. And they'll beat around the bush and they'll just go on and talk about, but he's got this, he's got that going on. He's got piano. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go here. Why are you calling me? I'm telling you how to do this.
Yeah.
And why are we on the phone? And you're telling me that you've got challenges making to a practice because of the neighborhood it's in, because you're busy that day, because he's got piano, because I get it. You want to be diverse and is different after school activities. That's great.
Right.
You asked me a question. I'm providing the answer for you.
Right.
There are a lot of people, parents, that are committed to doing what you did for your kid, right?
Yep.
And the one common denominator amongst all these great players and anybody that's really doing well is that they live in the gym.
Yep.
What motivated you to make that commitment for your kid?
I did it for Justin. Justin at 7, 8 years old started out in travel ball, and I'm a big baseball guy, kind of fanatical. And we found a team when he was 9 years old that was just different. They just played at a different level, and they traveled. And the first practice that they had was at 6 a.m. on a Sunday. And they said, we're going to be practicing here for 2 hours every Sunday at 6 in the morning. And the reason why the coach did that is he said he wanted to see who was going to put the commitment in for the team. There were no vacations. Vacation was the tournament. It wasn't I'm taking time off to go to a family vacation, or I'm taking time off to go do something else. We committed to the team. We committed to the process. I did that for Justin, so I had to do the same thing for Ryan. And like you're saying, you have to be in the gym. You have to work.
Did you want Ryan to play baseball?
I did, but that wasn't his passion. And when you're sitting there watching him, and I'm like, it's different for him. It's not. Justin was different, and I'm watching how Ryan's playing. He wasn't having fun, and then he got hurt, and then some stuff happened, and we thought he sort of gravitating to basketball a little bit. And we're like, all right, let's go down that path. If you want to do it, let's do it. And that's when I took him out of school in high school in Long Island, and I sent him to Oak Hill for a year because I wanted him to see what the next level really, really looks like. And he went to Oak Hill, and then the Lehigh thing happened. Came back home, went to Lehigh, and the rest is history from there.
What was the experience like in Oak Hill for him?
Oak Hill was a great experience. He might not say so. I mean, it was in the middle of nowhere, but it was a good opportunity for him to get out on his own, which I thought was really good for him to get some more independence. He really took on the leadership qualities while he was there. The school was excited for him to come back. They wanted to give him more of a leadership role while he was there. I think it really did a lot for him. I think it was a great experience for him.
All right, I have a guy who's a friend who's a scout in New York City, right? Who talks about Lehigh and about the chemistry there and how many kids organically start and finish at Lehigh, and there's not a lot of them. Right. And what's his name? Makai, who actually plays football at Arizona State.
Okay.
Is one of the few guys, Makai Swenson, whose father played in the NFL, whose brother I coach, whose cousin I coach. But so Ryan started there and then left and then came back?
No, Ryan started at Baldwin High School.
Okay.
Then we left and went to Oak Hill. Then when he came home in the summer, long story, but when he came home in the summer, there were the gyms at Lifetime Gym.
Yep.
And he would work out on Lifetime Gym. And one day he was telling me that somebody was talking to him to recruit him to go to Lehigh and was trying to call him to go to Lehigh. And I'm like, okay, well, who's trying to talk to my 15-year-old son? So then I got on the phone with one of the coaches and we had a good conversation. And I said, okay, let's bring him up and you can take a look at him. The other good thing was that the tuition from Lehigh to Oak Hill was a major difference. And the quality of play was close to the same. So it was kind of a no-brainer. It's close to home and it's cheaper and we can come see him play.
And now he gets to the big times.
Yeah.
He is, like playing at the highest level.
Correct.
Playing really well.
Correct.
How do you feel about this as dad when you're watching him play and going, wow, my kid's playing on national TV, but also there's sometimes he doesn't play. How hard is that for you when your kid's not playing in some games?
Like I said, I did not expect him to play that much at all. Mm-hmm. So anything we see, I have to sort of pull back a little bit and wanting more. Of course, I want to see him play as much as he can, of course. But I accept if it's 2 minutes, one game, 30 minutes.
Wait a minute, wait,
stop.
He plays 15, 20, 25 minutes, 30 minutes a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And he's playing well. And next game, he plays 4 minutes. Are you like, what's going on? Why isn't my kid playing? My kid should be playing. There's got to be a little bit out of you.
I'm going to be honest with you. I can question. My thing would be like, all right, what did he do? From what Tony tells me, it's how you practice, it's how you play. So part of me feels like, all right, what did we not do? But I also know that the team is getting ready for the tournament. And they're going to need everybody, all hands on deck. And I know Ryan's going to be needed. So is Caden's going to be needed. So is Kafaro's going to be needed. Everybody needs to get their time in order to get this. My goal is let's win a national championship, right? That's what I want to see. So whatever it takes to get to that point, whatever he needs to do, he does.
You've heard the comparisons about DeAndre Hunter, who was drafted 4th in the NBA a couple of years ago. Do you see that?
I haven't watched DeAndre's game, but I will say this. I don't see it right now, maybe size-wise, but I don't think Ryan's game is there yet. You know, he's got a long way to go to get his game to a point of talking about somebody that was number 4 in the draft. It's great to have the comparisons. Luckily, I have a guy that's a pro too, right, with my oldest one. So, and he was 19th overall pick. I know it's a process. So I'm years down the line until I really start looking at it.
Talk about the process. Last night, Dougie Fresh, TW, Little Ski, a couple other guys are hanging out and like, you know what? Let's go by JPJ. Let's go shoot around. Let's go hang out. And they go in the gym. And who's in there shooting with the manager?
You better be.
So he gets it, though. He understands, like, hard work because there are a lot of guys who may have made it if they had that attitude and worked harder and understood A plus B equals C, right? A being the super, super hard work and the dedication, right? And B could be whatever. It could be a number of factors or variables.
that gets you to the next phase. And Ryan clearly gets that.
As they say, the 10,000-hour rule, right? Is you put 10,000 hours in and it's become more of a professional, whatever you want to do. He's behind everyone because he has been playing less time. So he's got to work harder just to catch up with the folks that he's playing with now. I find it a blessing that he's even on the court right now with only playing, what does he have, 30 games under his belt in total? I think he has 15 games as a starter from high school, and to jump into the ACC to do what he's doing, he's got to catch up. He's got work to do. So that's why I just want everybody to be patient with him.
Yeah.
Watch out.
He certainly, you and him and your family fall under the pillars of Tony Bennett in terms of humility.
Yes.
Certainly, right? So it's
We can
certainly
talk a
a
little
great
ish
match.
when we're by ourselves, but yeah, no. My biggest thing, let your game talk, and people will talk for you.
Yeah. So we wish him the best.
Thank
Big fan. I'm looking forward to meeting him in person because I've never met him personally. Did a
Oh,
podcast
cool. We got to
with
make
him,
that happen.
right? And by the way, he got a chance to play in the Black Ops run
You
this
played
summer.
with your son.
Yeah, this summer.
Yeah.
And Ty talked about him. He was like, "Oh yeah, Ryan's dad came up to me and said, 'Oh yeah, I'm friends with your dad.'" And so that was great to hear. And I heard he did well there.
Yeah, it was a great
So-
experience for him.
Yeah, no, and he's playing. All those guys are pros.
Yeah.
Right. Whether they're playing in the NBA or overseas.
Yep.
What's a better experience than that before you go to college?
Before you go.
Right. And knowing that you can hang.
That's right. That was the
and
biggest
play
thing.
well.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the biggest
and
thing.
if you can do that there,
Right.
you certainly can come to high-level
Right.
basketball and play well there too.
Yep.
So, wish you guys the best.
Thank you, my man.
And really, maybe I shouldn't say this publicly, but of course, because you're New Yorkers, right? Maybe just a little extra, right? So pleasure to have you on. Thanks. I know you were thinking about not coming down until you kind of.
I thought about it. I
agreed
said, it's Duke. It's Virginia. Virginia's ranked 8th in the country. My son could come. Yeah, I should come down for this one.
Good.
You convinced me.
And hopefully he's going to get a lot of time today.
We'll see what happens.
And they're long and they're big,
Yep.
so he should get some time.
Yep.
And hopefully going to perform well. We'll continue to perform well. He's doing great. He's become a big time fan favorite. Congrats to you.
Thank you, buddy.
Congrats and best of luck to
Thank
you
you.
with both the boys and the
Yep.
family. Oh man,
Buddy.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming, bro.
You got it.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
All right. We got one more guest in Big Ski, Tom Hensky. Big thanks to Ed Dunn for making the trip down last minute, especially. And he did it for locker room access, right? Absolutely. Yeah, no, it's like, I'll see you at the game. Dude, best for last. Best for last. Where we at? We got it.
Got you my book. I didn't give you a copy yet.
I need
did
to sign one. I need to sign
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
afterwards. Yep. Indelibly. We're gonna bring Dougie on.
Oh God,
So-
that's trouble. That's trouble.
I'll see you at the game. Love you too, sweetie.
Bye.
Thank you guys.
Shut this off.
How are you?
Doing
Good
awesome.
to see you. I hear the big boy's doing great.
Uh-oh.
Humility. Great. You guys gonna be at the game? No? Okay. All right.
Did you guys buy a book at least?
Try that hard.
It's trouble.
You're saving it.
It's trouble.
I hope that can come to a stab game soon.
I would.
Would love to. Yeah.
Tonight.
Yeah. You got a lot of D1 players on that team.
It was awesome meeting
I hear
you.
he's doing great.
Tex-Mex. Love you, girl.
No one's going to give you a better picture than that today. The best, right? No one will beat that. All right. See ya.
Take care.
Thanks, girl. It's my first kiss of 2023, by the way.
Well,
From a woman.
we saved the best for last.
Yeah, there you too.
We've had a remarkable show so far. Remarkable guests.
Oh my
At least I
God.
hope people think that it's
Usually
been a good
remind
show.
me next time to go first, not last. That's an all-star group.
You got in
Tough
early.
follow.
You got in first. You snuck in first.
Jay Willie
You
show.
had an appearance.
Oh, I did do that one with Jay Willie. Jay Willie's great, huh?
He is.
He's great.
That's been a really fun show.
He has
Dude,
and he
let's
hasn't
talk about
changed one
let's talk
bit.
about your kid
Haven't
talking
changed a
about
bit.
great.
Spencer Hensky, right?
Well, he's my second favorite of you two.
Samantha's the first.
Samski, I call
Dude,
her. She doesn't like
you
it.
can't
but
be more proud.
Lil Ski.
Oh my God, so
No.
proud of Spencer. Beyond. So proud of him. such a good dude.
Little Ski has made my job so easy. Well, I make it hard for myself, but Little Ski has made my job so much easier.
Exactly.
You know what it's like as a parent too? Like when your kids go away, you just hope they hang out with good peeps.
Yeah.
Right? And it couldn't have been as a parent any better for him to come here where I went to school, but to get in this ecosystem of awesome dudes. And it's like great. It's like, Stacy and I have we're glued to the TV watching Locker Room Access. I don't think you have two bigger fans than Stacy and I, do you? Probably not.
Jen Clifton.
Maybe Jen.
Jen
maybe
Clifton's tough to beat.
She's tough to beat. But it's awesome, and he's loving it. And what I was telling Cody before too is it's really hard to find people that you really enjoy working with. That doesn't happen a lot.
No, I think I've been fortunate. You're fortunate, right? UVA basketball. When Ty first got down here, you're worried when your kid goes to college.
Yeah.
Right? He's away 6 hours, 7 hours, 8 hours for you guys.
Right.
You guys?
Yeah.
Right. 6 hours for me. Wait a minute, my baby's leaving me. They're not really babies, but they're always babies.
Yeah.
Right? I just made a Dougieism. Right? I hope it went over well.
They're always babies.
Right. Kid goes away, wait a minute. But, I read this incredible story by, I'm trying to think of the actor's name. Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name now. Whose kid went to Duke?
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but he wasn't an athlete. Great actor, big time actor. He's been a couple. I'll get the name later.
Kevin
Bacon. When you get older, your memory, glasses, all that stuff. Right? He goes to Duke, and the dad tells this incredible, compelling story, dropping his kid off and crying and being in tears.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, when I drop my kid off, I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
Cried.
You ever see the movie?
Cried.
With oh my gosh, this is getting bad. I can't remember anything anymore. Right?
We're doing movies.
With the agent.
I know Coming to America really well.
No, yeah, I know it's your favorite movie. When Tom Cruise is the agent.
Oh yeah, show me the
Jerry
money.
Maguire.
Yeah.
Show me the money.
And his one client.
Yeah.
Who,
Cuba Gooding
Jr. Thank you. It goes on Roy Firestone's show at the end.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna cry. Right. That's
was
what
you.
I felt like dropping my kid out of college. I'm not gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry.
Yeah.
Anyway, you drop your kid out of college. You don't try. Fortunately, I've talked about Devin Hall a lot today. Right, being an incredible basketball player, being an incredible kid. He meets Devin Hall as one of the few kids, multiple kids he's met because they're captive in their group that they're with as an athlete, right? And Devin Hall and he hit him off, and I'm like, wait a minute, Devin Hall's going to drive you all the way to Virginia, to Norfolk, Virginia, where he lives, or Hampton, and you're going to fly. That's awesome. I love this. Who's this kid? That's so freaking cool. Right?
Awesome.
Anyway, that was my experience, and it made me feel so much more comfortable. Right, so I hear exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
In your experience with Little Ski.
Yeah, I cried. Not as much as Stacy over there cried, but I cried a little bit. Mama Bear, that was tough for Mama Bear. Yeah.
It's special, man. But at least you went through it at the UVA. I remember when we came. It's not. Is it about me again or not? Or it's about him. Am I allowed to talk? But at least you went through it, and so you knew you were dropping him off with people we all became, and friends like that. So that's common. That's what I tell kids, man. These recruits, you go to UVA for the access, for the network, for way more things than the ball, the soccer net, the basket. I'm not going to push it. That's why you do go, but it's way bigger than you realize.
Well, thank you for giving us Little Ski.
Oh no. Thank you for having him. He's great. Thank you.
Been incredible.
Thank you for surrounding him with good stuff.
So let's talk about you.
Cool.
3-time, who does that? National champion.
Crazy, right?
No.
Crazy.
Does it seem like yesterday for you?
Oh yeah. And I come back here too, and it's like, life didn't skip a beat at all. But it was like, it just sets you up for the rest of your life on a mentality of how to think about things.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a little bit of a curse in a weird kind of way, because you want to have that level of excellence in everything you do at every step in your life. And that's not reality. Right. I mean, think about it.
Not for a lot of people, but you've done well.
Done okay. Yeah. But it's,
you've done very well.
The standard is high, right? Once you lived in that ecosystem of 3 national championships, it's hard.
and the people you were around, and different things they did and friends did, and
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Then you
Drag
want
you with it.
and you always want to play with 18 players, right? The letter A, right? Not 18. 18 players,
Yeah.
and life isn't always like that. You don't have like every guy on that Virginia soccer team could have started anywhere else, right?
You remind me of the guy who's like, what do they call that guy with the beer commercial? The most
interesting man in the world,
right in the world. Like you're doing it, you really are. You've got a great family.
Yeah.
Successful college soccer career, incredible college soccer career.
national champion.
Post-college, incredible career. You're doing extremely well. And now you just came out with this book.
Crazy,
giving
right?
back to people. And we've talked about this for the last couple of years, right? And it makes total sense. It's a book that you wrote, and you've got about financial literacy.
It's pretty basic, right? Isn't it
No,
funny?
it's not pretty basic. Stop being so damn humble.
No, it's like
It's incredible.
35 years. It's not basic.
Here's the thing. Like,
Dougie, now people are going to be like, really? What have you done? What have I done? So I wish you wouldn't.
why are we even sitting here and someone hasn't figured this out already, right? Like, how are we not teaching kids about money? And it's crazy to me. And we're sitting here in Charlottesville University. I would beg him to make it a mandatory class for kids before they graduate.
Yep.
I just don't see any. Yeah, that's right. And maybe it's like has to start with the athletic department. Maybe the athletic department says,
It's, we may, I used to disagree.
I know you guys love a little ski, okay? But if I said to him at dinner, tell me about your day, and he's in high school, the answers he's going to be giving me are good, fine,
Yep.
okay, right?
Can I eat in my room?
Right. Stop asking me that question. My day hasn't changed at all. Like he's normal. Like when they're teenagers, they're normal. But if you start to ask them, hey, what do you know about budget? Right? You'd be amazed how smart your kids are. And now you can have this adult conversation. By the way, if you don't start talking to your kids like adults, when you want them to have adult-like conversations with you, for example, talking about drugs, alcohol, sex, all the stuff as parents that we hope our kids come to us with, if you don't treat them like an adult and have established that relationship before that comes up,
Good luck.
good luck. It's not happening. So basically, Mark, what I've done is I've said, okay, let's use money as that adult conversation. Let's start building that bridge with the kids. Let's give them that financial literacy. And by the way, at the same time, you're building better relationships with the kids.
And you've also, in addition to the book, you've established a podcast platform.
Yeah, check me out, right? So
Well, where do we find you?
right on wherever you listen, Spotify, iTunes, the whole kit and caboodle. I teamed up with Westport Library, where we live. I think they're the only 5-star library in the United States. So
5-star library.
5-star library.
Wow.
It's Westport.
It's Westport.
What would you expect?
That's how we roll.
I mean, Fayetteville, Tennessee's got like 3.5.
So basically, they wanted to get in on the act because they're super over there, and so they produced the whole podcast. We now have the kids in town doing TikToks. Yes, I said that, TikToks on
Yeah,
financial
you did.
literacy. So that's been fun too. So like, you got to teach kids where they are, and where they are is at TikTok and things like that.
When you first started telling me about this, and this was pretty fluid, right? You got a lot of responses from big time people pretty quickly,
Crazy.
right? Were you surprised, or were you like, this should be this way?
I was surprised, but on the other hand, I'm like, well, not surprised. I'm not. It's surprising that it's me doing it, and I don't mean that in a humble way. I just mean like I thought somebody would have had this figured out already. I can't believe that I'm sitting here being the one talking about this, but everyone knows it's a problem. Anytime you have this conversation with any parent, they're like, "Oh, where was that when I was growing up?" They all say it.
So what's gonna, in an abbreviated format, or just in a brief sentence or two? All right, another book's out. It makes total sense. All right, big deal. What's going to make me really want to read this book? What can you give me? Give me a short description of this book that's going to entice me to pick it up.
First of all, it's easy. Okay, let me take a step back, Mark. We do a good job preparing the money for the kids. We do a terrible job preparing the kids for the money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like you're talking about NIL and stuff like that. What are we doing? So basically, I'm not saying I agree that the kids should be paid in some way, shape, or form. I don't know what that is. I'm not smart enough to know that end of it. But I do know that the part of it is that if they're getting money in their hands without an education, that's criminal. That's a disaster. Okay, there was like a wrestler.
It's worse than having given the money in the first
That's
place.
right. Because then what you do is they blow the money, their confidence level goes down.
They want more.
They want more. They do silly things for that. There was a wrestler at a school, and a local car dealership gave this wrestler the car as part of an NIL thing, right? Or whatever it was. They paid, they said, all you have to do is pay the insurance and the gas.
Yeah.
Guess what? That's a taxable event. Okay, so you gave a kid who has no money $100,000 car.
It's like The Price is Right.
Yeah, that's a $30,000.
Everybody wanted to win the
tax.
car and they had to pay tax.
Okay, so now he has a car that depreciated the second he drove it off the lot. He can't even sell it and get it for more than
This
than
tax back.
$30,000. So that's why, Mark, the reason parents want to do this is that it's easy, it's quick, it's one chapter a month, 5 to 8 pages. The podcast you mentioned, 10-minute episodes. So don't tell me that you don't have time in your month as a parent to read 5 pages and listen to a podcast for 10 minutes.
And again, when you talk about a world where parents and kids aren't always connected, this is a great opportunity.
Easy. The conversations I have with Samantha and Spencer in our own house on this are epic.
Yeah.
Epic. And it's funny because I'm like, wow, a lot of times I say they know a lot more than I gave them credit for. But a lot of times I think I'm filling in the gaps on a lot of things. And I hear them then talk about it after that. And I'm glad we had the conversation. Really glad.
I think the key to it, and I've watched multiple podcasts you've done like this for yourself or through other people. Saying it's easy is a good point. 1 chapter a month.
Yep. Right.
And then you be dedicated to it. It's not being dedicated to reading 340 pages of what's the famous Love and War? No, what's it called?
Yeah.
Love and Peace.
War and Peace.
No.
I try to say love.
And
But
easy is right? Because
Easy.
you think about some parents who maybe have 2 jobs, who don't make a ton of
Yeah.
money, but most people can find 10 minutes.
Easy.
10 minutes
Right. And
to
it's
listen
all
to a
free
podcast.
stuff. Once you buy the book, it's all free. It's all like on the website, easy. Yeah.
Yep. All right. This is awesome. I'm looking forward to reading. I know you're going to sign this for me. I hope you're going to sign this for me later.
Sure.
Right. I want to talk about UVA soccer really quickly.
Sure.
And maybe international soccer, Olympic soccer.
Wow. Well, you're going to really get me in that one. All right, let's talk. Let's do it.
Right. Because we were hoping that Claudio Reyna was going to join us, but couldn't. So we're going to ask you a question in place of a question we were going to ask him. But do you still follow UVA soccer?
Yeah, sure. Sure. Matt Schulis is one of the coaches, grew up on Long Island, and George Gelnavach was our assistant coach when we were here. Sure.
Yeah.
Huge fan.
That's great that they still have your support and most of the guys support that you play with.
Do they support it?
Yeah, most of it.
Yeah, the bar is high though, right? So there is a fair amount of banter in the group chat when things aren't going well, right? So just like anywhere else. But look, again, the guys I played with were super. It's great that George and Maddie have kept it going. It's great.
And it's like I told you back when we played, I think it's a little different for your son. We were all great friends. Like, he's my best friend. I look up to him like nobody else. But we were all great players. One of his teammates, shout out Brian Bates, was telling me that Lionel, he asked me, he drug me into it. Who's the best soccer player of all time? I said, Pele, of course. He's like, you're out of your mind. It's messy. And we're going back and forth. And we ended up having a phone call and a conversation. That's because back to 30 years, because we were this tight, we're all family like that. So
I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the big play that you made as a goalie.
Go for it.
And the moxie that you showed.
What was I thinking, huh? I was a dumb
We
kid.
got to talk about
Thank
that.
God I wasn't intelligent back then.
Take us back to that point.
I mean, it was like, it was a scary, I still make fun of
You weren't
Bruce.
really playing or you were
No,
playing?
I got benched. And then all of a sudden he put me in for the penalty kick.
Why'd they put you in?
I don't know. If Bruce is listening, Bruce and I talk about it every once in a while. I still consider it the stupidest coaching move in the history of college soccer. Bruce, you could tell me that you don't think that, and you say, yeah, well,
I'll
you made
disagree.
the save. But it was, all joking aside, he knows. It was pretty crazy. It was very unorthodox. It shows you how far ahead Bruce was.
This was the championship game.
The championship game. It was crazy. The whole idea of sitting there for 3 weeks not playing and then getting in for basically the last play of the national final, that's cray-cray. That's nuts.
That sets you up to be so successful.
You know what? Once you get past that pressure, everything else is easy, Mark.
So it's because Bruce is a lacrosse player.
Yeah, that's
And
it.
he's trying to coach soccer.
Yeah.
So
you
when
did okay.
When you
You
see
okay.
kids okay, let's get to it, right? Because Dougie and I were saying, it would be so cool. And there's rumors that Claudio Reyna is going to be here. And maybe we can get him a show. I have a connection with him in New York that he may or may not be aware of. I know Dougie knows him a little bit. And of course, you know him. What do you make of what happened this summer or in the last Olympics with?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate, and it's interesting because I know the 4 people involved, right? So Danielle grew up on Long Island.
Yeah.
She knows, and Claudia knows. There was one time I thought I would try to date Danielle, right? And Claudio beat us to it, right? So, and Roz, Greg's wife, is lovely, and Greg's lovely. They're great people. But the problem is that emotions have taken over, and I don't know the whole story, and nor would I try to guess what the whole story is. If it was up to me, I would just sit the 4 of them down and say, okay, let's figure out a way what can we agree to disagree on? What can we take ownership of it? And then let's get out in front of the media and have a conversation about it with 4 people on a podium. Okay, and let's find a way to get past this and make up. I know it seems like I'm making it way simpler, Mark, than your question is. I get it. But here's the thing. I don't want to compare this to steroids, but I want you to just see the comparison of just taking ownership and moving on. You have the steroid era in baseball. Andy Pettit comes right out and says, I did it.
Yep.
You don't hear about that anymore. Okay. Sosa and McGuire, they don't take ownership of it. You still hear it. Every month there's a story about it. Okay. So like for US soccer, the best thing is for us to move on from it. It happened. Okay. Again, I don't know everything that happened, but we have to find a way to move on and make it good for US soccer. And Bruce, the one thing that Bruce taught us when we were here is you do things for the betterment of the game. Like Bruce was coaching at a time where we had only Americans. He said, if you want to build the sport here, you have to build it with homegrown players. And he was always putting the sport ahead of everything else. I think that's really what we need to do. And like I said, you get great people there. So I don't.
But it's amazing thinking back to your time, how it started, and the actors. You know every single person involved in this thing because you played against them. Forget I get it. I agree. Make the sport better. But isn't it kind of interesting and it's so incestuous, for lack of can I say that word? Yeah. Incestuous that you played against and with everybody who's involved at the highest ranks of U.S. soccer. So, yeah, he might be the guy that they need to bring back.
Listen, it is 3:20 now.
Oh, we gotta get going. We gotta
get going. I could talk to you forever.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for the book. I'm looking forward to reading this. I'm looking forward to sharing this with my kids. Again, congrats on your kids. Awesome. Great job. All that's best for your success. Who's got a pen? Actually, you know what? I have a pen in my knapsack, which I don't have, but I got to get this signed.
I'll get one.
We got to give a bunch of people. The show went on much longer than anticipated. So people who are still watching and people in the audience, thank you guys so much. Big thanks. Thank you for lending your husband and your child. Right? Big thanks to the Milkman's Bar. Thank you guys.
Yay!
Addie, this was tremendous and a big hit. You had a couple people drinking it like it was water.
The host.
Is Eleanor still here? Eleanor, big thanks. Of course, big thanks to T-Dubs, Spencer Hensky, Cody, who I think just left. Dan, appreciate it. Our audio guys, Jason, everyone who watched, who's listened, who hung around with us. Thank you guys very much. Thanks to all our guests. For locker room access, if you're still hanging out with us, thanks guys so much for watching. Let's get him today.
Great job, Marky.
Let's get him today.
Great job.
Great stuff, brother.
The best host.
Great
Hostess
stuff,
with the
brother.
most. Good stuff, brother. Love you, boy.